sunshine at sunequip.com. Some restrictions apply. See dealer for details. Offer ends March 5th, 2025.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Doug Brown. Quarterback Aaron Rodgers may play somewhere in 2025, but it won't be with the Jets. The team making that official today. They are moving on from Rodgers. Sportsbooks around the country did well thanks to the Eagles' win in the Super Bowl, but not in Pennsylvania, where betting on the home team will cost local sportsbooks $6.5 million. About 79% of the money wagered in the state was on the Eagles. Team USA plays its first game in the Four Nations Face-Off tonight against Finland in Montreal. The game at 8 Eastern on ESPN. An opportunity right away for the Americans, says ESPN's PK Subban.
If they get this win in regulation, they get 3 points. They can capitalize on some of the mistakes that Team Canada made last night. Not getting that win in regulation is a mistake for Team Canada. It allows them, they only get 2 points for that win. Team USA can take a stranglehold, but do they have the experience? Do they have the poise?
PK Subban on Get Up. Vegas Golden Knights defenseman Shea Theodore will miss the rest of the tournament for Canada after an injury in the opener.
Hey, it's your resident Super Bowl champ, Chris Candy, coming up Friday. Their season ended in disappointment again, so what can the Bills do this offseason to get them to Super Bowl 60? It's Unsportsmanlike, 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio.
Let's ride!
And off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. It's AFR presented by Decision Critical, concierge nursing in Baton Rouge. I'm Matt. Hey, shut up, kid. Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
You sir. And Mr. Toby Tomplay. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. LSU's got a new quarterback, and they didn't have to look far to find him. LSU's added an offensive tackle commitment. Alex Bregman has his new destination, and Muse was dead wrong. Can't wait to talk about that. But let us begin as we do every single day.
It's time to pop the top on another edition of AFR with Bud Light. Drink easy.
Dead wrong, but pretty excited. Dead wrong, but pretty excited.
Very excited to be wrong.
I bet so. All right, let's get going here. So, a landmark day for the New Orleans Saints, as it is anytime you introduce a new coach. And Kellen Moore introduced on Thursday as the 19th head coach in New Orleans Saints history. Press conference there at the Saints facility in Metairie. Mrs. Benson, Mickey Loomis, then Kellen Moore all spoke. Kellen Moore had his wife and 2 of his 4 children with him. And generally speaking, a good day. It's what you'd expect. It was a Common Garden Variety introductory press conference. There were some things we had to get to, but Mrs. Benson started things off by kind of laying out what she and they collectively were looking for in a new coach.
We wanted a coach that was exceptionally bright, creative, and most importantly, a tremendous leader. I believe that is exactly what we have in Ellen Moore.
Did I hear what I think I heard?
I believe that is exactly what we have in Ellen Moore.
I'm sorry, I'm not getting it. It sounds like she called him Ellen Moore.
Ellen Moore.
Oh yeah, she said Ellen Moore.
Ellen Moore.
She called him Ellen Moore.
Ellen Moore.
I don't know, maybe she thought like the K was silent or something like that. Like there's the T silent in Tchoupitoulas.
The C is silent.
Yeah, they do that in New Orleans, right? Like Chafunkta. The T is silent. Maybe she's got to get used to it a little bit.
Ellen Moore.
She called him Ellen.
Ellen! Hey! Ellen!
We are off to a rip-roaring start.
Ellen Moore.
I mean, and there ain't no hiding it. She didn't trip over a what? I mean, she just flat called him Ellen.
Ellen Moore.
Oh my God! But she got it right later. In fairness, she got it right.
Kellen.
She did call him Kellen. Play it again.
Ellen Moore.
Okay, all right. We got something to talk about. I have a feeling you're going to hear plenty of that over the next, for as long as they allow me to do this radio show, years. But Mickey Loomis went up as well and effectively talked about this coaching search in total, and he thanked everybody. But basically, the reason that it dragged on as long that it did,
as mentioned, this was a comprehensive process. It took longer than we anticipated, simply because the Eagles kept winning. And that delayed our opportunity to make an informed decision. We appreciate their patience and cooperation with us during the process.
Then Kellen Moore did take to the podium, and I thought he was impressive. He's a young guy, lots of energy, and kind of gave off college coach, program builder vibes, is maybe the best way I could say it. But I think for most everybody, there's two primary questions we all know that Kellen Moore has to address first and foremost. And it's not going to be a singular decision. It'll be more with Mickey Loomis in the front office and everything. But one is Derek Carr, and the other is the salary cap. And quite honestly, those do work in tandem. First, here was Kellen Moore when he was asked point blank. The question, I'll play the answer here, but the question point blank was, do you view Derek Carr as the week one starter in 2025? Like, there's no dancing around an ambiguous question. It was a very direct question. Here was the answer.
I view it as Derek Carr is a tremendous starting quarterback in this league. We're fortunate to have him, and we're excited to go through this process, as we build this roster together. Again, I'm meeting these guys for the first time the last few days. I'm really excited to meet more of them, and this will be a lot of fun. So he did not say, yes, Derek Carr is going to be the week one starter. He also didn't say he won't be the week one starter. Now, that was a double negative, but I think you understand the point. He was non-committal there with Derek Carr, so you could read it one way or another. Now, earlier in the press conference, he did speak about Derek Carr as a player, someone he knows well. Derek's a tremendous quarterback in this league. I've had so much respect for him, the journey that he's been on. He's a starter in this league. He's a premier player in this league. He's had a great journey, obviously going from Fresno State to the Raiders and now here. Really excited to team up with him and go through this process. And so just like any player on this roster, I just got here a few days ago, and I'm excited to go through this journey with all of them.
He dropped a few this leagues there. I am happy to report, however, we did, in fact, Get this.
Players in our league.
Muse? We got in our league.
I mean, the guy's adapting to the culture.
Already.
Man.
I mean, he just let being called Ellen roll right off his back and jumped right into our league. You give me a I think this. And
look.
Oh, look. And I think this. And now we're cooking with grease. Okay, we're going right back to the Peyton era. So Derek Carr, one part of this. The salary cap is the other part of this. And here's what Kellen Moore said. And look, in fairness, he didn't really shy away from this conversation, which I guess is sort of unavoidable.
Certainly the opportunity to go through the interview process allows us to have those conversations, and quickly, again, it's evident. The leadership here is tremendous. They're best in the business from a business side of this operation, and we feel very comfortable with where we're going.
We feel comfortable where we're going, but he didn't give an answer. And I know that as we talk about the cap, in particular with Derek Carr, the only way that you're going to get real savings is a post-June 1st designation, right? Which would give you about a $30 million cap savings. But that doesn't allow you that opportunity then to spend that money in free agency when the league year begins. So it's really a question of, do you want to make that move now and not really have any cap savings? Or do you want to wait a year? Let me rephrase. You'll have cap savings. It's just not going to be reflected to the point where you could spend it in free agency this year. Or do you want to roll with Derek Carr another year, see what that may be like, and then you make your decision moving forward? You all know where I stand on it. But I also think one of the other things that was very impressive about Kellen Moore, can you play 9, please, Muse? And this is, I think, some understanding for a guy who's from Washington State, who played collegiately at Boise State, and now who has coached around the NFL in Dallas, Los Angeles, and Philadelphia, who really has no ties, recognition, awareness of New Orleans of the city. He did talk about what the team, what the Saints mean, not only to the city, but to the state and the region. And I thought this is I thought there was a very strong amount of awareness in this answer.
It's very quickly evident. This is a tremendous city. The hospitality and the environment that they provided for the Super Bowl was really special. You quickly saw what makes this place an amazing city. And as we've gone through this process, it just becomes more and more evident. We truly can't wait for this to become home.
He said the right things, and I think there's part of that. Kellen Moore was at the Pelicans game with his family, got a nice introduction there, a nice cheer. I think there is a part of that that's part and parcel with being the Saints head coach when you embrace the city. And it's not just the Saints head coach, it's really anything in Louisiana, whether you're a coach or a player. We talk about it all the time. You wrap your arms around the place and the culture, it'll give you a big bear hug back, and you'll never want to leave. That's why Sean Payton very seamlessly for the Super Bowl was interwoven into some of the pregame NOLA Strong festivities, right? I mean, it was Sean Payton next to Gail Benson in the quarter with the Lady Gaga NOLA Strong performance. Drew Brees forever has talked about that, about making this home and everything that the city and the franchise means to the city and the region and everything. So when you have that awareness, it's going to endear you to the people. It doesn't mean you're going to win games. There are people who have endeared themselves here, and it didn't work out as a coach or a player either way. But that is a very significant part of being the Saints head coach that isn't necessarily true elsewhere. Like, that's not really the case with the Pelicans. They haven't set a hook culturally in South Louisiana yet. I'm quite certain if you got to Los Angeles, Jim Harbaugh doesn't need to be ingratiating himself to the people of Los Angeles, because the Chargers people of Los Angeles probably don't even know the Chargers are there, by and large. It's just different here. So Kellen Moore introduced and did address the first, two things primarily that he's going to have to worry about: cap, quarterback, and that'll continue to evolve as we move forward. And we'll work on Mrs. Benson getting his name right.
Ellen Moore.
All right, it's after further review. We're glad you're with us. Our show open every day is brought to you by Bud Light. Drink easy with the great taste of Bud Light, the official beer of AFR. The cul-de-sac guys commercial with Peyton Manning and Shane Gillis and Post Malone, the 7th highest rated on the USA Today ad meter for the Super Bowl. It was a lot of fun to see that ad. And I know my friends over at Mockler Beverage were telling me that the Bud Light people are going to start using that cul-de-sac concept a lot in some of their ad campaigns. So it's fun. Look, Shane Gillis is hilarious. I don't know if you agree. I think he's hilarious. But great job on that ad, and we're excited about it. Baseball season's here. You're going to be out at the box. First pitch at 2 o'clock tomorrow out at Alec Box Stadium. You're going to be at the box or wherever you're watching. Make sure you got plenty of ice-cold Bud Light. Remember, they've got the Bud Light aluminum bottles. The LSU Bud Light aluminum bottles. So you see the purple and gold Bud Light aluminum bottles. So make sure you get those at great local retailers and drink easy with the great taste of Bud Light, the official beer of the LSU Tigers, the official beer of the New Orleans Saints, and the official beer of AFR. All right, let me knock out a quick break, y'all. The LSU Tigers got a commitment from a big-time prospect on Thursday morning. His high school coach is going to join us next. It's AFR.
AFR.
Get Gordon and get it done. Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. If you've been injured in an accident, it's not your fault. Do what injured people in our state have done for 3 decades, man. Get Gordon and get it done. You can always get that free consultation. You know, we often say whenever you're injured in an accident, don't go it alone. If you've ever been in a car accident that's not your fault or any type of accident, you will very quickly understand and appreciate the importance of having an attorney on your side. Someone who can have conversations with the insurance company to make sure that your rights are defended, that you get what you're entitled to fix your car. If there is any type of injury situation, lost wages, let someone who is experienced in doing that go to bat for you. And Gordon and his team work all over the state. So no matter where you are, you have a local attorney, part of Gordon's team, helping you. So get Gordon and get it done. Go to getgordon.com, 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 or you can always give him a buzz, 888-8888. That's 888-8888. Get Gordon and get it done.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief. Our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, Our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Auctioneer Andrews.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. Healthcare for your lifestyle. Learn more at decisioncriticalvr.com.
If you missed it, LSU baseball game 2 was scheduled for 1 o'clock on Saturday. It's been moved up to 11 a.m., expecting a lot of bad weather in the greater Baton Rouge area. So Friday, game 1, still 2 o'clock. Saturday, 11 a.m. Sunday, 1 p.m. So we'll talk more baseball. Kendall Rogers here 1 hour from right now. On Thursday morning, LSU, Brian Kelly, they get a commit for the class of 2026. Name familiar in these parts, Brysten Martinez, the big offensive tackle out of East Ascension. His head coach, Brock Matherne, joins us for a couple of minutes here. Coach, it's a pleasure. Thanks for the time. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing great, man. Appreciate y'all having me.
Yeah, it's our pleasure. What was your reaction when you heard of the commitment?
Oh, man, just happy for him. It's been a long process. He's been getting looked at since he was a freshman in high school, and just knowing him and knowing he was ready to kind of get that stage over with so he can continue and have fun the rest of his high school career. Just happy for the kid. He was glowing this morning, and just couldn't be more proud of him.
What was, for those that don't know, obviously the high school coach, you have a lot of interaction as well with college coaches when recruiters come on campus and they're sort of vetting prospects. Well, Brad Davis took the lead here as well. What was your impressions of Brad Davis and the job he did?
Oh, he did a great job. He was super consistent with it, and he was just building relationships. Man, Brad has a special ability that you talk to him, he might say 5 words to you, and you feel like your best friend. And he just did a great job of building that relationship with Brysten, and we had an honest relationship with each other, and he just did a great job of helping us and us helping him. Get that relationship with Brysten the way he feels comfortable to call that home.
I know Brad Davis and Joe Sloan were the primary and secondary recruiters. How much of a relationship contact did you all have with Brian Kelly, especially just the way that throughout his time at Notre Dame and now at LSU, he's prioritized and really excelled at recruiting and developing elite offensive linemen?
Yeah, I mean, I think when I first took the job last year, Brian Kelly came to visit, and he made a great impression on us and our program, and I know he did on Brysten, and I know every time Brysten had an opportunity to go visit or whether they got together, I know he just thinks the world of Coach Kelly, and he did a great job, and like his rich history going from Notre Dame, Cincinnati, I mean even back here at LSU, Brysten sees that, and that's intriguing for him.
Brock Mathern's our guest. He's the head coach there at East Ascension. Brysten Martinez, a top 100 overall player in the country for 2026, commits to LSU. He'll stay home, play offensive line for the Tigers. Let's talk about Brysten, the player and the person. Start with the player. He's listed as a tackle at the next level. Is he a collegiate tackle?
Honestly, the kid's so God-gifted athletic that, man, he could play any of the positions. I joke to everybody that comes to visit about him is that if we could have 4 more of him, he would go play tight end because of how athletic he is. Just great hands, great feet. I think he could play any position. I mean, he pulled from the tackle position this year. I think he has the size to play tackle at the next level. I really think it's going to be whatever LSU's vision is for him and his future and the future of the program of where he fits. But just watching him play basketball, I mean, that shows he can do it all.
You talked a little bit about his strengths there, the feet, the athleticism. What about something that you, as a guy finishing up his high school junior year, that he still needs to work on?
Well, I think he has everything he could work on. He's so raw that I tell people this all the time is he's not even close to reaching his peak. And that's the great thing about him as a kid is he's the ultimate competitor and wants to be the best. He solidified his commitment, and I could still see him just wanting to go compete against people this summer in rivals camps and things like that. So, I mean, he's going to work on it all, and something we pointed out this year as a junior was his hip flexibility and his ankle flexibility, and he took that and worked on it and improved it this past year going into his junior season. So I know that's things that he'll continue to work on going into his senior year.
Got a couple more minutes here with Brock Matherne. He's the head coach at East Ascension. His star offensive tackle, Brysten Martinez, commits to LSU on Thursday. Let's talk about Brysten, the person as well. What kind of kid do you get to coach every day?
Man, he's fun. Fun is the probably the key word. He's like a big kid, man. He just loves playing ball, whether it's football, basketball. If we let the kids go play 7-on-7, you got to watch him because he wants to be the receiver. He wants to go up and jump over people.
No, Brysten, no, Brysten. Keep your feet on the ground, dog.
Makes you a little nervous. Start to tell people they can't pick him. But no, he's just a great kid. He's a yes sir, no sir kid. Shows up to work, and I mean he's just a big kid. He's fun to be around, makes you laugh every single day. He's been a pleasure to coach.
Yeah, there's no way to know this, but it is the portal NIL era. When you talk about the commitment and people wonder, like, are they solid now? What do they really mean? A team could always come in and offer money or whatever. Where do you fall on that, Coach, as far as like how solid this may be at this point in the process?
Me and Brysten didn't get to have that conversation. I brought him in this morning. We talked, just congratulated him, and I think Brysten isn't a guy to go off his word from what I know of him. He's a really solid kid, comes from a solid family, and I think LSU, growing up here around LSU, it's been a dream of his, and I don't see how he backs out of it. But like you said, this is a crazy world in recruiting, and you never know what happens. But I just believe Coach Sloan and Coach Davis done such a great job of building a relationship with him that I think he chose where he feels is best for him and what's home.
How the Spartans going to be next year?
We plan on being good. We got him, and he makes it easy. Run behind Brysten. But no, we have a real good group. We're excited about them. Got a year under our belts together, so they know the expectations. So we've been working hard this offseason and looking forward to this fall.
Brock Matherne, head coach over there at East Ascension. Brysten Martinez commits to the Tigers here on Thursday. Coach, it's a pleasure. Thanks so much for a couple of minutes. We appreciate you taking time.
Yes, sir. Thank y'all.
Yep, that's our pleasure. It's Brock Matherne. It's After Further Review. We're brought to you by Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Windows, doors, siding. Oh, yeah, they do shutters as well. It's Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Remember, they're never going to be the cheapest, but, man, they always are always going to be the best. And they're great community partners as well. Just saw this a bit ago. St. George Auction, the Retro Revival coming up this weekend over at L'Auberge. Relief Windows, one of the sponsors over there. Rare that you'll go to a community event without seeing that Relief Windows logo, because Brandon and Adrian believe so much in giving back in the communities that have given them and their business so much. So you'll often see Relief Windows logos all over the place. I know personally and professionally, a lot of different ways. Our friends over at Relief Windows have always been great community partners. It's Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Energy efficient replacement windows, beautiful entry doors, hardy plank and vinyl siding. They do it all. They do it better than anyone. It's Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. All right, y'all, let me knock out a quick break. Thanks again to Brock Matherne for joining us. If you want to react to that convo, feel free to jump aboard here. You can email us or tweet us or text us in the 225-396-4400, 396-4400, 396-4400. We'll react to that. I got on the rundown a bit later to kind of give you a full segment takeaway on the Brysten Martinez thing. I just think it's so significant when you look at the class of 2026. And look, yes, there are people who are skeptical of commitments at this point because of the NIL, what LSU just lived with through the Bryce Underwood thing. But the reality is 2026 is a bumper crop in the state. You've got 6 players in the top 83 in the country in the composite. Brysten Martinez is one of them. All 6, by the way, all 6 of those are within an hour of LSU's campus. From Lamar Brown, literally on campus, to Blaine Bradford 5 minutes away, to Brysten Martinez 20 minutes down the road in Ascension Parish. Like, you got to keep those kids. You got to keep the local kids, and especially in a year like this. So you get a local guy like that on board early, becomes sort of a Pied Piper, helps you continue to build the class. I'd much rather have that commitment than not have the commitment, regardless of what happens coming up to signing day. I'd rather have it today than not have it. So Brysten Martinez on board. Long way to go. Get 10 months till he can actually put pen to paper. But that's significant. One of the top offensive tackles in the country. You just heard his coach say, raw. A lot of room still to grow, which is awesome. Okay, we're not got a quick break. We'll come back. We'll go around the SEC. Tons more to talk about from the Kellen Moore introductory press conference. About 45 minutes long with Mrs. Benson, Mickey Loomis, Kellen Moore. So we're going to sprinkle in throughout the day tons from that Kellen Moore introductory press conference. And Kendall Rogers is here talking some baseball in 45 minutes. Stick around. It's AFR.
AFR.
You get bombarded from all angles from different companies that want to build your pool. Pool, outdoor kitchen, all that stuff. So who do you trust and how do they differentiate each other? Well, I'm proud to tell you every day about Duplessis Builders. And I've told you about their 10-year workmanship warranty, which nobody else does. But one of the other ways that Duplessis Builders differentiates is they make you completely informed. Now, here's what I mean. This is the level to which they go. If you go to their website, duplessisbuilders.net, 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 at the top of the homepage, you'll see a tab that says Our Book. Hit that tab, and it'll bring you to a page where you can download a PDF of their comprehensive customer guide to building a pool. So you can be completely informed on the process, the steps they take, so you are engaged throughout that entire process and you know exactly what you're getting. There's a reason they're the best. It's duplessisbuilders.net.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
There's never been a better time to catch a John Deere deal from the crew of Sunshine. Ask us about our low monthly payment options on our tractor packages and let the good times roll. With equipment strong enough to power one of the world's largest celebrations, we've got your needs covered too. Learn more about what it means to be powered by Sunshine at sunequip.com. Some restrictions apply. See dealer for details. Offer ends March 5th, 2025.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Looking for the ultimate game day experience? Come to the Queen Casino in Baton Rouge. Savor game day platters and snacks, plus drink specials at 1717 Kitchen and Cocktail. So come out for...
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. Healthcare for your lifestyle. Learn more at decisioncriticalbr.com.
Well, look at Otter being way ahead of the game. Otter locks are already posted over at louisianasports.net. So if you're interested, you like to throw a little bit on the games. Otterlocks already posted. Let's see. He's got 2 plays, a men's college basketball play, a women's college basketball play for tonight. It is Thursday, so we should get Colucci tonight. We should get Colucci picks tonight. I assume we'll get that. So, let me see. How did Otter do last night? Did you play Otter's games last night, Muse?
No, I did not.
Why not?
I just wasn't in the mood. Kind of taking a little bit of a reprieve.
All together or just last night?
Yeah, no, all together.
Okay, let's see. All right. We hit on. Oh, nope. I didn't place him either.
Why not?
Because I was on remote and I didn't have my app open. And then I hustled straight from the remote across the street to the Toyota Center and forgot to go back and do it. And very candidly, I don't even remember what the plays were at this point. So I was going to go check to see how we did. And I can't even do that. Anyway, Otterlocks are posted right now at LouisianaSports.net if you want to get them. I don't know. I figured, Muse, maybe you weren't playing along because you were imbibing, celebrating, perhaps, into a drunken stupor, or whatever types of chemicals you partake in from time to time there, old Muse. We know what truth is.
No, you don't. You don't.
Yeah, I think we do. I think we know. I think we know.
You don't know.
Muse is celebrating last night. Alex Bregman, a 3-year, $120 million deal with the Boston Red Sox. So Muse and all the fake bandwagon Red Sox fans who live in South Louisiana can celebrate. So on one hand, like, I'm very excited for Alex the person. This is his second 9-figure contract. That's a lot. That's a lot of money. And by the way, he's going to sign another contract. What's Alex, 29? Is he 30 yet? This is nine years in the league. He might be 31.
Alex Bregman is 30 years old.
So he's 30. Okay. So he's 30. He signed a 3-year deal. He's going to sign another contract. Now, it may not be another 9-figure contract. Then again, with revenues going where they are, he may. But this is a 3-year, $120 million contract. So I am very excited for Alex. This is his second 9-figure deal, which is amazing to say. It's freaking incredible. And he's doing great, right? At 30 years old, he's married. He's got a young son, Knox. He and Reagan are expecting number 2. I want all great things in life for Alex Bregman. He's just a great guy. And I'm super pumped. But I am just so miserable that he's going to the Boston Red Sox. I mean, this could not suck. Like, it literally couldn't suck anymore. It is literally the worst possible option for me, selfishly. Okay, it's great for him, for all the reasons. Really sucks. And this is something that actually floored me. Well, Alex Cora is the manager of the Boston Red Sox, and Alex Cora was on that staff with the Astros when Bregman came up, and they won the World Series, and then we know why that staff got fired and whatever. But anyway, I didn't realize this. Muse, have you looked at Bregman's his Fenway Park numbers? Have you seen this?
Oh, yeah. I've also seen them firsthand just watching the games.
Okay. So in 21 career games at Fenway, Alex Bregman is hitting .375. This is probably a big reason, too, why Boston was willing to go so far above and beyond what anyone else. And he's going to play second base in Boston. He, in 21 games, .375, 7 homers, 15 RBI. 7 homers in 21 games, okay? He's got a career .1240 OPS, which is the best in Major League history among players that have had at least 90 plate appearances at that park. So that's pretty good. So here's what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping that Bregman hits he wins a batting title. I hope he hits 50 homers, bats .364, Triple Crown, everything. I hope he wins all that, and Boston goes 60 and 102. That would be a good compromise for me. I would love to see that happen. What?
I'm just so damn happy.
Yeah, you know what? You're not getting off the hook, you bum.
So happy
You're not getting
about
off
this.
the hook because yesterday Yesterday, I teed it up for you. I teed it high so you could let it fly. And you know what you did? You duffed it, Muse. It's what you did. You topped the ball and it just dribbled. I went through the odds. Yesterday on AFR, we go through the odds. It was the Cubs were even money, followed by Detroit and Boston. I think Boston was like plus 250 or something like that. And I was like, Muse, how would you feel? Like, this was the interaction. Here you go.
Muse, what if Bregman went to the Red Sox? Would you love that?
I mean, yeah, of course I would love that. I don't see that happening in really any world. I don't care what their odds are. The conversation seemed to really cool off there.
I don't see that happening in any world. By the way, like 4 hours later in this world, the world in which we all live,
right here.
Yeah, this one, Alex Bregman is a member of the Boston Red Sox now. Muse.
What a great day to be alive. What a happy, happy time.
So here's the translation. Muse don't know nothing in no reality. I don't see that happening in any reality. 4 hours later. How you like them apples, Muse? 120 million of them.
I love them.
I know you do. Again, I hope he does awesome, and the Red Sox go 60 and 102. And doesn't he have like an out every year?
He has opt-outs, 2 opt-outs, yes. 20 after this season and 26.
So just 2. Well, then obviously the third year.
The third, right, exactly.
So every year he could leave Boston after any season. So Bregman, here I'm writing it down. I'm going to get Bregman to hit 362 with 50 yaks.
That'd be awesome.
Triple crown.
Yeah.
And Boston is going to go 60 and 102.
I'd actually be okay with it. I'm just happy Alex Bregman plays for my favorite baseball team again. It's been a while.
Great. Neato. Who's texting me during the show? I mean, I get a text from someone. Like, are you kidding me? Like, don't text me during the show. What? Somebody trying to schedule a meeting with me. Who knows what I do for a living? Needs help professionally. It's
tough.
Like, what are you doing, kid? Come on, God bless. And I normally wouldn't react this way, but now I'm pissed because we just got done talking about the Bregman going to the Red Sox thing. So now I'm like, now I'm in a mood, and then that comes. And now I wanted to leave. I just wanted to like block him now.
Don't do that.
It's after further review. What do I have to do? Oh, Williamson Eye Center. I love the Williamson Eye Center. That'll put me in a better mood. Dr. Blake did my LASIK. Coming up on 6 years since my LASIK. Or is it 7? Oh, I think September's going to be 7 years now since my LASIK. 7 years, and I wish I'd done it 7 years prior. You've probably heard people say, best money I ever spent. Wish I wouldn't have waited as long as I did. That's a reality for so many people because when you wake up, like yesterday, I went to Houston. Went to the hotel, went to bed, woke up, obviously drove back. But to pack an overnight bag and not to have to worry about contact lens, the contact case, the travel solution, an extra pair of contacts, the glasses. So when you take your contacts out, can you see? Like, just wake up in the morning and see. It's incredible. You can have that reality as well. The Williamson Eye Center can help. 924-2020, 924-2020, or williamsoneye.com. All right, let's go around the SEC.
Around the SEC, bringing you the biggest news from the nation's best conference, the Texas Longhorns.
Texas running back coach Tashard Choice is leaving Texas to take the same role with the Detroit Lions. Been the running backs coach at Texas for the last 3 seasons. Might remember Tashard Choice from playing at Georgia Tech, and he had coached at Georgia Tech from 2019 to 2021, played 6 years in the NFL. Kind of considered a rising star in coaching circles. Tashard Choice leaving Texas and headed to the Detroit Lions.
The Oklahoma Sooners.
Remember the name J.P. Lossman, former Tulane quarterback? Well, he's leaving Oklahoma to join Washington staff. Lossman's been a Sooners assistant director of player personnel for the last 3 seasons. He's set to join Washington as an assistant quarterbacks coach on Jed Fish's staff there in Seattle. Lossman previously played for Fish in 2010 with the Seahawks. Venables brought Lossman with him from Clemson when he took the Oklahoma job a couple years ago.
Texas A&M!
4-star defensive lineman Jermaine Kinsler has committed the Texas A&M Aggies. He's out of New Jersey. He's a 4-star defensive lineman. Chose the Aggies over Michigan, Ohio State, and Miami. 6'5", 260, the number 176 overall prospect in 2026, the 16th best defensive lineman. A&M now has 9 commits for 2026.
The South Carolina Gamecocks.
And Paul Matherne, weird, spoke to the media ahead of the season opener. As I understand it, it was a very long media session.
A lot of player comparisons in there, too. A lot of them.
Matherne revealed that right-handed pitcher Eli Jersenbeck, who was in contention to be in the rotation, went to the doctor Wednesday. Not quite sure what the problem is yet. He is officially out for this weekend series against Sacred Heart. The Paul Matherne era in Columbia, South Carolina begins this weekend against Sacred Heart. All right, there you have it. That is around the SEC. Our Thursday shows are brought to you by Decision Critical. Of course, decisioncriticalbr.com. Check them out online. It's concierge nursing. They have a great program. It's a 24-hour package where if you need 24 hours of consecutive care, or if you want to break up those 24 hours over the course of a week, you can do it. But if you need in-home nursing care or in the hospital with you or anything of the like, it's concierge nursing. It's not just healthcare. It's healthcare for your lifestyle. Remember a couple other things? IV hydration, so important right now. Flu's got, like, everybody knows somebody who's sick, right? I mean, it's hit our building. My wife works at a school. Like, there were 200 people out last week at the school with the flu. Hydration is so important. You get IV hydration. They come to you, your home, your office. So IV hydration, and then also their B12 clinic. That's the only thing they do in office is Wednesdays. They have their B12 clinic. You'll get a B12 shot. If you're not familiar with the importance of B12, you can learn more. Go to their website or call over there at Decision Critical. It's decisioncriticalbr.com. Decisioncriticalbr.com. Okay, it's after further review. We'll knock out a quick break. Wrap up hour number 1. Basketball Tigers took it on the chin again. We do have a change coming this weekend for LSU baseball we'll tell you about. And after SportsCenter, we'll get to more of what Kellen Moore had to say in his introductory press conference. Ton to do. Glad you're here. It's AFR.
AFR.
Crawfish is at Rouse's. How about it, y'all? Rouse's.com or Rouse's.com. If you want to learn more, you can always go to the Rouse's Facebook page as well. But we are now into February, and it is crawfish time, and I love telling you about crawfish over at Rouse's because they make it so easy. It is already boiled, bagged, and tagged. By the way, everything is boiled in-house. It's not like they're bringing it in from outside somewhere else. They have in-house boiling rooms at every Rouse's location. So when you walk into Rouse's and you see their boiled crawfish, it was boiled there that day. You can walk in. They've got, like I said, with corn and potatoes, bagged and tagged. You literally just walk in to the hot and boiled kiosk. You grab the bag of boiled crawfish with the corn and potatoes. You go check out, and you are done. It's at Rouse's, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. Rouse's.com, Rouse's.com. Also tomorrow's Valentine's Day. Flowers, cards, chocolates, they all got it at Rouse's.
There it is, the extra mile. On the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further. Like vans customized for work or play. With safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. Healthcare for your lifestyle. Learn more at decisioncriticalbr.com.
Wrapping up hour number 1. Basketball Tigers lost their 7th in a row. Arkansas winner by 12, 70-58. Line was 9.5, so win and a cover for the Hogs. A team that, if you're here, as we kind of talked about the game yesterday or earlier in the year, it's an Arkansas team that started, really stumbled out of the gate against a very tough schedule to open conference play. But, man, they've got lottery talent on that roster. No Boogie Flan's hurt. They've actually been better without him. He was a 5-star, the number one player in the country. But they've kind of hit their stride, and that's a team that can make a push toward the bubble. Again, I'm not saying they're going to be in, but when you look at Arkansas playing better and what the schedule looks like ahead with winnable games. I mean, Arkansas now is at 4-7 in the league, which is not anything great, but when you play in this league, in our league, I don't think it works for the SEC. It's got to be an NFL thing, probably.
Unless we get an SEC coach who drops in our league.
Okay.
Then it works.
Okay. I like that. Got to prod Matt McMahon. I got Matt McMahon to wear a suit.
That's true.
I mean, he was doing the pull. Maybe it's my fault. He was doing all the pullovers and everything, and I was like, hey, man, the old boot up thing, let's go with suit up. Like, I said, join up a little bit. Anyway. Arkansas finishes. So after they play, the next 2 games are on the road against top 10. They play at A&M, then at Auburn. They're home against Missouri, who's ranked 21st. But then they go Texas, South Carolina, Vandy, Mississippi State. They have a very manageable path down the stretch to get to 8 league wins. And if they get to 8 league wins, I'm not saying 8 and 10 in the conference is going to get you in, but it's going to play yourself onto the bubble when your net ranking in our league is as high as it could be.
In our league.
You're going to go to Nashville with a chance to play into the tournament. LSU is not. Matt McMahon, after the game on the LSU Sports Radio Network, kind of talked about that first half and how it got away.
I thought, Chris, in the first half, the ball security, 10 assists on our 15 baskets, only 3 turnovers. I thought we were able to get some really good looks there. The rebounding was even on the offensive glass anyway. I think both teams had 6. So we were right there in the mix at the break. Really good execution on the last possession of the half, and Victoria's hit a big 3, to take us in leading by 1 at the halftime break.
When Miller hit that 3, it put LSU up 35-34 at the half. So you went into half leading by a point. And you got to score by 13 in the second half, 36-23. Same issues with LSU turning the ball over. Field goal stat was terrible again, just 39% from the floor. You just can't win. You're not going to beat good teams still on the road when you're shooting 39% from the floor. So they'll keep searching and seeking an evasive win. It's 7 straight losses now. You go to Oklahoma this weekend on Saturday, and then next week you're home against South Carolina, which is probably your last realistic shot at getting a win. So see if they can get it. All right, we're brought to you by Parrish Construction and Roofing, parrishbuilt.com. A couple things. We had our weekly marketing call over at Parrish. 2 things. Number one, the state of Louisiana opened up their fortified portal again. It's closed. But if you do get approved for a fortified roof, for one of those $10,000 grants for a fortified roof, we are a certified fortified roofing company. We'd love to help you out. It's the coastal zone, so the southern coastal part of the state, New Orleans, North Shore, the Bayou region. If you get approved for a Louisiana fortified grant, we'd love to help you out. Just give us a shout at parrishbuilt.com, parrishbuilt.com. And we have our own gutter division, a totally separate gutter division as part of Parrish Construction and Roofing. So we can handle everything for you. Do business with someone you know. That's us. It's Parrish Construction and Roofing. Go to parrishbuilt.com. That's parrishbuilt.com. Okay, y'all, it's After Further Review. SportsCenter coming up. Get you caught up on national headlines. Our Thursday show is brought to you by Decision Critical. When we come back, more from Kellen Moore as he was introduced as the Saints head coach today.
AFR.
Thinking of buying land? Your first call should be to First South Farm Credit. Maybe you want to buy land in that coastal zone that we were just talking about. Maybe you want to buy 20 acres to build your family's dream home. Maybe you want to buy a bunch of acreage in South Louisiana to build a fishing camp or something like that. Maybe you want to buy land in Mississippi for a hunting camp or to build a ranch in Montana or whatever it may be. Maybe you need 1,000 acres for agriculture. The truth is, every farmer knows First South Farm Credit because First South Farm Credit has been first in agriculture for more than 100 years, since 1916. When Louisiana farmers wanted to buy land or, quite honestly, their farm equipment, First South Farm Credit has been there to help. But it's so much more than just that. If you want to buy land, your first call should be to First South Farm Credit. And I would also suggest talk to your CPA. Owning timber property can be a great investment property as well. So learn more at firstsouthland.com, firstsouthland.com.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief. Our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared toward seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
There's never been a better time to catch a John Deere deal from the crew of Sunshine. Ask us about our low monthly payment options on our tractor packages and let the good times roll. With equipment strong enough to power one of the world's largest celebrations, we've got your needs covered too. Learn more about what it means to be powered by Sunshine at sunequip.com. Some restrictions apply. See dealer for details. Offer ends March 5th, 2025.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Parish Construction and Roofing.
This is Coach Kim Mulkey. Go to parishbuilt.com for all of your roofing needs.
From your hometown, parishbuilt.com.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Doug Brown. The New York Jets have a new GM, a new head coach, and they'll have a new starting quarterback for the 2025 season. The team makes it official today. Aaron Rodgers will not be back. ESPN's Stephen A. Smith.
Him being an experienced individual who's one of the elite quarterbacks that the game of football has ever seen, it's pretty hard to be completely new at the GM and the head coaching spot and come back with the same old, particularly when that same old wasn't what he used to be.
Stephen A. Smith on First Take. New Saints coach Kellen Moore met the media today. He's the youngest head coach in the league at 36. He did not commit to Derek Carr as his starting quarterback, but Moore will be the offensive play caller. After weeks of talks, there will be no Steph Curry versus Sabrina Ionescu rematch at All-Star Weekend. This year's game is in San Francisco, where Curry plays and where Ionescu grew up, but the event will not be happening. Tonight at Daytona, the duels to determine the rest of the starting grid behind the front row for Sunday's Daytona 500.
Hey, it's your resident Super Bowl champ, Chris Candy, coming on Friday. Their season ended in disappointment again, so what can the Bills do this offseason to get them to Super Bowl 60? It's Unsportsmanlike, 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio.
That's right.
Off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. It's AFR, presented by Decision Critical Concierge.
O'Neill's name.
Muso. And Mr. Toby. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. Kendall Rogers talking a little baseball here in less than 15 minutes from right now. Speaking of, LSU did announce earlier today that Game 2 of the series with the Tigers and the Mastodons from Purdue Fort Wayne has been moved up to 11 a.m. So expecting rainy weather throughout the day Saturday in Baton Rouge. The game was scheduled for 1 o'clock. They've moved it up a couple of hours to try to get it in. So scheduled for this weekend, Friday season opener, 2 p.m. Central. Still going to be a matinee, 2 p.m. Central. Saturday, 11 a.m. And then Sunday at 1 p.m. All games in the greater Baton Rouge area can be heard on our sister station, Eagle 98.1, flagship of the LSU Sports Radio Network. Games will be streamed as well, video on SEC Network Plus. So you can stream the games or you can listen on Eagle 98.1. But again, 2 o'clock Friday, 11 a.m. Saturday, and 1 o'clock on Sunday with LSU and Purdue Fort Wayne. So just as one quick heads up for tomorrow, so we did this last year as well. In our partnership with LSU, they opened the door and requested that we have a presence out at the box for opening day, which we're thrilled to do. So we're going to adjust our lineup a bit for opening day. So live at lunch, this does not affect our audience, by the way, in Lake Charles, Lafayette, or Alexandria. But so for our Baton Rouge audience, live at lunch with Charles and Jimmy is going to go 10 to noon. And then Hunt Palmer show will be live at Alec Box Stadium from noon to 2. And then AFR will start an hour earlier, and we'll go 2 until 6. Terrio will be here, if you're wondering, for the first 2 hours of the show tomorrow from 2 to 4. So Terrio here from 2 to 4. Yes, we will be on during the game. And then afterwards, we'll act somewhat as a de facto postgame show. But I don't love being on opposite the LSU baseball game. I'd rather be watching the LSU baseball game. But it's what it is. And Hunt will be out there from noon to 2. And we'll be on an extra hour tomorrow from 2 until 6. So we'll see you then. All right, it's After Further Review. Glad you're hanging out with us here. Brought to you by Evermore. Drink Evermore. Better form of hydration. Natural artesian water. Challenge you all the time. Grab a bottle of whatever bottled water you normally drink. Get a bottle of Evermore. Drink it side by side. Tell me you don't taste the difference. Grab the label of the bottle you normally buy. Those popular, brands and everything. You'll see what's added, what's taken away, minerals added for flavor. Look at it. You think water is just water. It's not. Evermore is it's from a natural artesian well in Covington on the North Shore. I mean, millions of years in the making. It is Mother Nature's masterpiece, they're fond of saying. It doesn't touch air until it's uncapped, and you take that first sip. It's Evermore. Drink Evermore. EVAMOR, evermore.com. All right, so Kellen Moore introduced with his family on Thursday as the new head coach of the Saints. And he gave a brief opening statement and then took questions. Kellen Moore was at the podium for about 35 minutes or so. Gail Benson, then Mickey Loomis followed, and then Kellen Moore spoke and answered questions. And he did give his vision for what the Saints will look like.
We have an exciting future for New Orleans football. Our number one goal is to create an environment that allows every player, coach, and staff member to be their best. And this is the greatest team sport in the world for a reason, because it takes everyone. We know that when we do this, when we build a brand of football that we're all appreciative of, it's going to be a smart, fast, and a physical football team. And I know that our style, that Who Dat Nation will be proud of, and they will rally behind. We have a tremendous advantage in the NFL because of the phenomenal fan base that we have, because of the home field advantage that the Caesars Superdome provides, and I can attest to the daunting challenge that when you come into the Superdome as a visiting team, the challenges that you're going to have. Can't wait to get started. Who Dat Nation, appreciate you. Can't wait to go.
He also talked about the rebuild. Right? Is it, well, I say rebuild, and I use that loosely because there's really two options. Do you approach it as a full reset rebuild now, or are you still trying to win now? I mean, that's been the tug of war that the organization and the fan base and everyone have played here in these past several years. And I've been clear, y'all. I was okay with them doing what they did. So this is not hindsight 2020. I'm not going to be accused of being a hypocrite. When they were doing it, I was okay with it. When they were trying to get one more championship for Drew, I get it. You're buying on credit. You're kicking it down the road to give yourself a chance to win now, and I'm good with it. It just didn't work. You had some really good teams. You kept making the playoffs. You were a 1 seed. You just didn't get over the hump. Okay, that sucks, but that's your reality. It's time to push reset. That's my opinion on the matter. But does Kellen Moore get a say on if they're still in win now mode or if they're pushing the reset button?
I think certainly the great joy that as you went through this process, it became very evident was this is a collaborative effort here. This is a team. This is a group that works really well together. We're excited to go through this journey. Obviously, we'll begin the process of evaluating the player side of this and building a coaching staff and doing it the right way moving forward. It's going to be a really fun process.
We are going to talk about the coaching staff in a bit as well. One very familiar name, Durante Jones, former LSU defensive coordinator. Durante Jones has been the Saints have requested permission to interview Durante Jones. He's currently the secondaries coach with the Minnesota Vikings. So that's a guy, remember, the Saints, or LSU brought him here from the NFL, where he was a secondaries coach with the Vikings, was at LSU for a year, went back to the Vikings, and he's done quite well. Now he's up for the gig. Brandon Staley seems to be the guy that's the front runner for a defensive coordinator, but Durante is going to interview. The follow-up, though, to the are you winning now or are you resetting now, is how close is this team to being able to compete?
That was one of the attractive pieces of this is, I think this is a talented roster. We played here week 3. We took it down to a minute left to finally score a touchdown when I was in Philadelphia. It was a really challenging game. And so throughout this season, you've seen it. Obviously, injuries were a challenge this year, and those things sometimes are challenging, uncontrollable circumstances. And so we recognize there's so much good going on here. We want to embrace the good, don't lose any of the good while building this thing the right way.
So that's the challenge, though. Like, what is the good? I could run through what I think the good was from this season. I think Taliesin Fuanga is a positive, right? You appear to have hit on that pick. He started every game for you at left tackle and was quite good. Offensively, I think that's the list. Is there anything else? I don't want to be too harsh. I mean, Taysom Hill, when he was healthy, was really good, but his time in New Orleans might very well be done. I mean, he's not even going to be healthy enough to compete for you till October. Can you get 17 games out of Alvin Kamara at 30 years old? Remains to be seen. Chris Olave has a very questionable future now with the head injuries. Rashid Shaheed's going to be coming off of injury. And then you look at your defense, you're old, and you have questions everywhere. Your run defense was bottom 5 in the NFL. Sacks, you were bottom 5 in the NFL. You have an aging Cam Jordan. Carl Granderson didn't perform up to his contract this year. You appear to have wasted a second-round pick on Isaiah Foskey. Chase Young was one of the best in the NFL at creating pressures this season, but he's a free agent who you may not have enough money to bring him back because I think he's going to have a robust market. I think DeMario Davis and Pete Werner are both still very good players, but Davis at 36, you wonder how much longer he can do it. I think you have gigantic question marks at cornerback. Having traded Marshawn Lattimore, Paulson Adebo is going to be coming off a devastating injury, and he's going to be a free agent. So do you re-sign him? Are you confident enough in Alontae Taylor and Kool-Aid McKinstry as your cornerbacks? Do you have to go address that in free agency? You're old at safety. Tyron said he wants to play a couple more seasons, but you certainly need another safety. I don't know that Will Harris is the only option you got back there. So, I can understand him saying they're talented, but are they really? I mean, when they were healthy at the beginning of the season, we saw the Saints route 2 teams. It was Carolina and Dallas. You routed 2 bad teams. And there were times we saw Derek Carr later in the season, and you weren't a shell of what you looked like early in the year. So it's just very hard for me to wrap my arms around the idea that you're ready to be competitive. I'm not trying to be a downer. I'm trying to be very candid with you. I'm not coming at this to say, like, let's just paint every bit of negativity. They've done things organizationally I think they had to do. Trading Marshawn Lattimore and getting a 3rd-round pick for him was a very smart decision. You saw Lattimore in the playoffs. He got cooked. It seems like you pulled the ripcord there in enough time to be able to get a 3rd-round draft pick, which feels like a steal right now. Good job. You fired Dennis Allen to move. You had to do that to bring someone new in, culturally fresh voice. You got the young offensive-minded coach. There's those things that I like. But you also have to be realistic with what you are as a roster. And you're not close. You're not close to competing as a roster. And it's why we shared with you Super Bowl odds for next year. Only the Giants have worse Super Bowl odds than the New Orleans Saints. You're not close. So, I don't expect him to stand up there. You say, what do you want him to say? I don't expect Kellen Moore to go to his introductory press conference and say, well, the roster's not very good. All these guys are going to be gone. It's going to take us a long time to rebuild it, so be patient and be in for the long haul and the grind because it's going to hurt for a while. I don't expect him to say that. Press conferences are sunshine and roses. But he's got a lot of work ahead of himself. On field, front office, working with Mickey Loomis, cap, roster, everything. Because you're not close. That's the reality. All right, it's after further review. You want to get your reaction, and you can. Email us, tweet us, text us, 225-396-4400, 396-4400, 396-4400. Lots of ways you can get involved in the show. We're going to step away from the Kellen Moore conversation. Bottom of this hour, I want to come back and talk about Durante Jones, if I think he's a fit for the Saints as DC. And by the way, at the start of hour 3, LSU's added a quarterback from their current roster. They've moved a guy to quarterback. this is fascinating to me. I got to talk about why I think it's a good idea. And we'll do that in 45 minutes. Kendall Rogers, D1 Baseball next.
After further review.
Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness, yourgoodwood.com, yourgoodwood.com. You've heard me talk about hormone replacement therapy, ED treatments, other different treatments that they offer there at Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. One thing that I want to make sure I stress, lowest prices and never any contracts. So if you're worried, I don't know if this is for me, I don't want to go get stuck in some long-term contract. Like, when I say never any contracts, I mean literally there are no contracts. So they can get you your hormone replacement therapy treatments for the lowest price possible, and you're never going to be locked into a contract. What do you have to lose? Try it. Go for that consultation. They can do the whole thing over telemed as well if you'd prefer. I'd suggest you go meet them in person, but it's up to you. Just take that step to feeling like your younger self again. It's Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
There's never been a better time to catch a John Deere deal from the crew of Sunshine. Ask us about our low monthly payment options on our tractor packages and let the good times roll. With equipment strong enough to power one of the world's largest celebrations, we've got your needs covered too. Learn more about what it means to be powered by Sunshine at sunequip.com. Some restrictions apply. See dealer for details. Offer ends March 5th, 2025.
When it comes to choosing energy for your family and your home, make the smart choice with natural gas. You can count on efficient and affordable natural gas to keep you comfortable and reduce your environmental impact.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. Healthcare for your lifestyle. Learn more at decisioncriticalvr.com.
Mindset, mind frame. And we have good players that maybe not are in the lineup right at the outset that are probably going to be in the lineup. And for those guys that are maybe just outside of what we're going to do on Friday, and there's a few at least, like when you're in there, you're not playing to get more playing time. You're playing to help our team win in that moment that you're in. Because otherwise, then you revert to trying to do too much, and then you lose their effectiveness as a player when we're trying to use them in a spot where they have great effectiveness as a player.
Jay Johnson, I don't really know what he just said right there. Maybe Kendall Rogers can make sense of it. Great to be talking baseball again with the premier college baseball writer, Kendall Rogers, D1 Baseball, on Twitter at Kendall Rogers. Y'all give him a follow. How are you, dude?
I'm doing well. It's cold today. It was like 82 in Houston 2 days ago. Now it's like 49. That means it's college baseball season.
Dude, so I was in Houston yesterday. I did my show there. It was a quick in and out trip, but we did an LSU alumni event around the Rockets game.
Thanks for the invite.
Well, forgive me. I assumed you were actually kind of busy, but it was a really quick thing. And by the way, you're not an LSU alum, but you could have come actually next time.
Honorary.
No doubt.
Maybe.
No doubt.
I don't know.
Anytime. We actually had a great time. It was a really good event. But
Awesome.
when I got to the valet this morning to get my car from the hotel valet and walked outside, it was like, temps in the 40s, wind was whipping. I was like, geez, it was like 80 last week.
Oh, yeah.
It was cold in Houston, like very cold in Houston this morning. Anyway, you heard the Jay Johnson cut coming out there, and he said an awful lot about effectively saying there's some guys that probably aren't going to play opening weekend that we're probably going to count on, not be happy. What do you make of this LSU roster with that? Like where the jumping off point is for Jay and this team and where it may actually land?
Yeah, I think the big thing with this LSU team is I think it's really balanced and it's got a lot of depth. And so when that's the case, I think especially early on as they're playing lesser opponents, he's going to tinker a lot. One of the things I thought was really interesting is one of the names that he's kind of talked about over the last few days is Tanner Reeves. And that's a guy, like, if you go back and look at our survey from the LSU coaching staff in the fall, like, he's not even on it. Yeah. So it just kind of gives you an idea of the different options that LSU has from not only a positional standpoint, but also I feel like they're in a really good spot on the mound right now, too.
They did announce that Milam's going to play short and Braswell will go to third. I don't think there's any surprise there. You good with that? That makes sense?
Yeah, I'll be really interested to see Braswell's arm at third. I mean, it's not a great arm. It's not a bad arm. I feel like Jay has a pretty good pulse in that third base position. A couple of years ago, when Tommy played there, a lot of people were kind of like, what is Jay doing? And then all of a sudden, like, he actually looked great over there by the end of his career.
Yeah.
So I feel like Jay knows that position really well. And, Stephen Milam, I know this sounds like kind of a lazy answer, but I kind of feel like with Milam, like, I don't think I worry about him anywhere. I just kind of feel like he's such a gamer that, like, if there's something he struggles with in shortstop, like, I feel like he'll eventually figure it out, if that makes sense. So, I think we'll do fine there.
The other guy I wanted to ask you about is Derek Curiel. It's interesting to me, Kendall, because this is a guy who, I think in the rankings, he ranked higher than Dylan Cruz, so he's the highest rated player ever to show up on campus. So you start having those conversations, and then all of a sudden you start having like expectations. I don't know that that's realistic or fair for anybody, but what is a realistic or fair expectation for Derek Curiel as a freshman?
Yeah, I mean, the thing about him versus like Dylan is I've kind of felt like the only reason Dylan Cruz wasn't ranked even higher is because there were some scouts coming out of high school that thought that he had a little bit too much swing and miss. It's honestly very similar to what scouts said about like Jay Slavolin at A&M, who was a former LSU signee. Like, both of those guys, he was like, they strike out too much. Curiel is to me, is just a very tooled-up guy. Is kind of the total package. But in terms of the actual instant impact, I mean, it's really hard to be like a guy like Dylan Cruz. But I mean, you're talking about a guy 6'2", 185. They can hit for some power. Really good athlete. Obviously, just an incredibly seasoned guy, both I would say skill-wise and just mentally. So he's one of those guys like he knows he's really good and he's going to go out there and put on a show to some extent. But I hesitate to say like, hey, I think he's going to be Dylan Cruz or I think he's going to be this and that. But he is going to be a really good player.
Kendall Rogers, D1 Baseball, is going to join us Thursdays here. We'll preview the weekend series that are coming. You mentioned Lavalette, and obviously I think A&M is just one of the more fascinating programs in the country. Not only national runner-up, the talent and everything like that, but also Michael Early, you got a new coach there. So, with Texas A&M, is this a thing where there's a legitimate concern about the ceiling because it's a new head coach? Do you expect that to be seamless? Walk me through what you think there.
Well, that's a great question. And, and trust me, like I'll say this as a guy who certainly is well versed in A&M athletics. There's a part of me that kind of hesitates a little bit just because we know historically what has happened to A&M sports teams and on the big stage when everybody expects them to win at this level. But I'll say this. I think when you look at Mike Early, I think he feels like a lot of people thought he had no business getting that job, which, I mean, there's an argument to be made right there, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I think if this was a team that had a seasoned coach that had nothing to prove, I might have a concern that they may not live up to expectations because even with the talent they have. But because you've got a team that almost won the national championship last year, lost their coach the way they did, and now you've got a head coach who's got a bone to pick with everybody, who has a chip on his shoulder, I kind of think that all comes together really nicely. The one thing I will say about Mike Early, though, that I would say it's a concern, it's just the uncertainty, is when he's playing LSU on a Sunday game, and you've got one of the best managers in college baseball and Jay Johnson on the other side, and you're mixing and matching relievers late in a game that's deciding a series and may, potentially decide who, is a top 8 seed. Like, what buttons does Mike Early push? That is the one thing we don't know. And that's the one thing that I would consider kind of the question mark with A&M.
The defending champs we haven't talked about yet either. Are they – it's interesting, Kendall, because they lost so much, but they're still expected to be really good. So give me a sense on, from the pole position here, what you feel about Tennessee.
I feel really good about it. I mean, obviously, it's really hard to win back-to-back national championships. There's a reason why South Carolina was kind of the unicorn in that regard under Ray Tanner. But, I mean, I think when you look at this Tennessee team overall, I mean, yeah, they don't have a Christian Moore yet. But, going into last year, who would have thought Christian Moore and Blake Burke would have had the years they had? So I would say the most likely guy to take that step forward and kind of turn into one of those players is Dean Curley. Their talented infielder, obviously hit for power last year, hit just shy of 300. But I think he's going to have a great season. Hunter Inslee, if you think back to last year, in his defense, his base running against A&M in Omaha in the National Championship Series, he essentially won that last game for them with his defense and base running. Ultra athletic guy. I think he's going to have a great year. And then when you look at them on the mound, I mean, they don't have Dolander or Drew Beam on the front end. But, they got Marcus Phillips, who was up to 98, 99 last spring, a little bit more seasoned now under Frank Anderson. He's going to be the week in rotation. And they got a really talented freshman in Jay Abernathy who's going to actually be out in the outfield too. So I think Tennessee is really scary because I think they won't be quite as offensive early on. But I think by the end of the year, they're going to be really, really good in all facets.
Kendall, what about Alberto Osuna? For those who don't know, the North Carolina transfer was going to a lower level, but the whole JUCO rule with Diego Pavis to try to play. But as I understand it, still hasn't gotten his eligibility yet. So do you know where that stands?
Yeah, Ross Dellinger, who's done an amazing job of covering these stories, I think put out there today that he had an injunction hearing at 2:00 today Central, so we should be hearing something about that soon. But here's my thing, and here's what I would tell anybody, whether it's player, parent, et cetera. If somebody's willing to go to court and challenge the NCAA, more often than not right now, they're just going to give you an injunction and let you play because they have too much going on to sit there and have a bone to pick with a dude who's going to play college baseball. So I just think right now, I think I'd be shocked if he doesn't get a waiver. And the other thing that's really interesting is if Alberto Osuna gets a waiver, then Dylan Goldstein at Georgia will also get a waiver. And you're talking about a guy old guy who had double-digit home runs last year for the Bulldogs, and he would all of a sudden be back too for another season.
That's a good point. Anything? Look, you get into an opening weekend like this, and you get a lot of LSU against Purdue, Fort Wayne. There is Ole Miss in Arizona, which is kind of tasty. Anything on the opening weekend docket for the SEC that is worth watching, you think?
Yeah, I'll be at Globe Life, and obviously we talked about A&M earlier. How about the start of the Jim Schlossnagle era at the University of Texas? I think Texas reminds me a lot of Jim's first team at A&M, that 2022 club that struggled on the mound, but boy, they were with Dylan Rock and those guys. They were really offensive. I think Texas this year with Max Blue, Jalen Flores, Will Gasparino. I think they're going to hit a lot. The question is, can their pitching staff? Right now they got a staff full of essentially relievers. Can one or two of those guys formulate into a starter that can give them length, give them 5-6 innings to be able to turn it over to the bullpen? That'll be the question mark. But Ole Miss, obviously a big season for them. I think they're the one team in the SEC that we don't have in the postseason going into the year that I feel like has a solid chance to get there. Hunter Elliott, remember that guy?
Sure.
He's back and finally healthy again for the Rebels. And then remember the name Judd Edermark. He, was a very limited role for them last year, but had a monster fall, and from what I hear, has been outstanding early this spring. So Ole Miss looks a lot better on paper, but as it is in the SEC, like for Ole Miss to get in the tournament, somebody else is going to have to underachieve, and I don't know who that is right now.
Is Elliott going to be the Friday guy?
Who's that?
Is Hunter Elliott going to be the Friday?
Elliott as of right now, he's going to be the Friday guy, and it sounds like he's 100% healthy. And so, I mean, I'm fascinated because it's been a year and a half since he's pitched. I mean, I'll be very curious, actually, when he starts tomorrow, to go back and TrackMan and see what all of his metrics look like. Because I tell you what, if he's got the same spin rate on his breaking ball, things like that, and his fastball is back to normal, I mean, he's got that moxie, and that's exactly what Ole Miss lacked last year.
Hey, man, he was just a massive part of that national championship run, obviously, as a freshman, the lefty, and missed last year with Tommy John. But always good to see the best players in the sport out there in a sport that continues to grow in popularity. So Hunter Elliott back for the Rebs. All right, Kendall, looking forward to doing this throughout the year, man. Enjoy the baseball this weekend at Globe Life. They got a roof on that thing, huh? I'm guessing they'll close it, so if it's cold, no worries.
They do have a roof on that thing. I did see that Jay's already sent out a permission slip to LSU fans. That's nice to see.
Yeah, for a guy who does his show at 3 o'clock in the afternoon at 2 o'clock first pitch isn't exactly ideal, so I'm not super pumped about that.
Well, they are, I like their chances this weekend against the Mastodons.
I think they're going to do okay. Kendall, we'll look forward to it next week and every week, man. Thanks for the time.
Thanks, gents. Y'all be good. Good talking to you. Thanks, Matt.
You do the same. He's at Kendall Rogers. I'll give him a follow. He's the best. He's the premier college baseball guy. So, and he gives us 10 minutes every Thursday. We're looking forward to that. All right, it's After Further Review. We are brought to you by Michelli Weighing and Measurement, Michelli.com, Michelli.com. If you weigh or measure something, they sell, service, rent the products you use to weigh and measure. At Michelli, they say, we show the world what measurement can do. ISO 17025 accreditation. They can calibrate all of your precision measurement equipment. If you want to go look at the types of calibration they do, easy. Just go to the website, Michelli.com, Michelli, Michelli.com. You can hit the calibration drop-down right there, and you'll see it all. It's electronic calibration, force, environmental, mass calibration, physical dimensional calibration, pressure, scale, temperature. It's all there for you. Go get the info at the website at Michelli.com, Michelli, Michelli.com for Michelli Weighing and Measurement. At Michelli, we show the world what measurement can do. Okay, Muslav Tigers and the Pros here in about 15 minutes from right now. When we come back, Kellen Moore has to build a staff. There are some names. In the last 24 hours, there's been about a dozen names coming and going that have been thrown out. So we'll wrap it all into one, put a pretty bow on it for you, let you know what you need to know, including talking about Durante Jones, who's going to interview the Saints defensive coordinator job. We'll get to that as we continue. It's After Further Review, presented by Decision Critical, Concierge Nursing in Baton Rouge.
After Further Review.
As we start moving through 2025, you got an event coming up. I want you to remember my friends over at the Renaissance Hotel. Renaissance Baton Rouge, awesome space, 13,000 square feet of meeting space at Renaissance Baton Rouge, right there on Bluebonnet. So convenient, right there by I-10 at Bluebonnet, across from the mall in Perkins Row. Gorgeous, sprawling space. You could utilize their boardrooms for a dozen people, their ballroom up to 500 people. So if you got an awards banquet, a wedding reception, if you've got any type of fundraiser event coming up in 2025, the Renaissance Baton Rouge would love to host you. So call my friend Allison Crump over at Renaissance Baton Rouge and let her explain their options. As she always says, we're in the business of saying yes. So they're going to find a way to make it work for you. Check them out today. It's the Renaissance Hotel.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further. Like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
Looking for the ultimate game day experience? Come to the Queen Casino in Baton Rouge. Wall-to-wall TVs mean you'll see every touchdown in HD. Place your bets and feel the thrill.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. Healthcare for your lifestyle. Learn more at decisioncriticalbr.com.
Yes, we'll go through a true process for the defensive coordinator spot. We're really excited to go through that over the course of the next few days, and we'll find an excellent candidate.
That is Saints head coach Kellen Moore when he was introduced on Thursday to the New Orleans media. Obviously, a big part of the conversation is building his staff, and he'll have to hire an offensive coordinator and a defensive coordinator. And in the last 24 hours or so, there have been almost a dozen names mentioned as far as coaches coming and going. So, for example, the Saints have granted permission to offensive line coach John Benton and Andrew Janocko and John Benton have already been hired by the Seahawks, and now Rick Dennison has been granted permission to interview with the Seattle Seahawks. The New Orleans Saints are retaining wide receiver coach Keith Williams. We've already seen several Saints assistants headed out to Las Vegas to join the Raiders. Now Marcus Robertson, who's now former Saints defensive backs coach Marcus Robertson, is joining the Raiders staff. So there's just been a lot of this turnover, right, which is to be expected. We've also seen the Saints hire now an assistant, Brendan Nugent, who had worked with Kellen Moore with the Chargers. They're reuniting. So Nugent actually worked with the Saints offensive line from 2005 through 2021. He's returning to New Orleans. He and Moore coached together with the Chargers in 2023 when Moore was the offensive coordinator. So they're reuniting. So there's always this idea of some familiarity. We've talked about, naturally, a guy like Doug Nussmeier, who it's largely assumed is going to join Kellen Moore in New Orleans. He's been with Kellen Moore ever since 2018 in Dallas. They were together in Dallas from 18 to 22. They spent 23 together with the Chargers, then 24 together in Philly. It's largely assumed that Nussmeier is going to join Kellen Moore in New Orleans in some capacity. If it's offensive coordinator, if it's pass game coordinator, assistant, they'll figure out the roles and the titles and all that stuff whenever. But you're still looking for a defensive coordinator and a full staff that you'll have to fill out. But Kellen Moore talked about the importance of those relationships when building a staff.
There's tremendous value for experience when you've worked with someone, just for continuity's sake. But I think the blessing and wonderful thing that you learn is as you go through this journey, going to Los Angeles, going to Philly, there's a lot of coaches that if I just stuck in Dallas, I would have never met, would have never got to team up with. And so you understand that as you go through this process, you're going to have an opportunity to meet and team up with coaches that maybe you haven't done it with. And they're going to be really special, and they're going to have a huge impact on us.
I think every coaching tends to be somewhat incestuous. There's a lot of hiring and rehiring and firing and sharing and crossover. That's just sort of the nature of the business. And you're already seeing that now manifest in the staff that Kellen Moore is starting to sort of assemble and put together. I think offensively, what is very important as far as a coordinator or a quarterback's coach is that Kellen Moore has someone around him that he trusts, that he works well with. That's why I think Doug Nussmeier is important for that role. Play number 31. He was asked point blank, Kellen Moore was, if he's going to call plays. Play this one real quick.
And to stay as a play caller as a head coach, or was that kind of up in the air?
Yes, I'd call plays.
So Kellen Moore's there's no ambiguity. For as much as he dodged a lot of questions today when he was asked if he's going to call plays, yep, I call plays. Okay, so he's going to call plays. So the offensive coordinator is more someone who is going to be a resource, someone who you trust, who can be in your ear, who can help you game plan, you can bounce ideas off of. It's important as a resource to Kellen Moore. The other side of it, that's why I think Doug Nussmeier as an offensive coordinator is very important. The other side of it, when you're talking about defensive coordinator, this person has to run a side of the football for you. And you cannot miss on this hire. And Kellen Moore talked about the process of building a staff, but then he was also asked about a timeline for that DC hire.
Certainly, we just want to do it the right way, and we want to go through a process, and we understand that when the opportunity presents itself, it'll be right, and we're very excited about that. Obviously, we know we're into the middle of February, but there's plenty of excellent candidates out there. We're really excited, the ones that we've talked to already and the ones we'll talk to in the future. It'll be a great opportunity.
So he didn't give a timeline, but they're going to go through the process. One of the names that has come up is former LSU defensive coordinator Durante Jones. ESPN's Jeremy Fowler was the first to report that Durante Jones could be a candidate and that the New Orleans Saints have requested permission to interview Durante Jones for the vacant defensive coordinator job. Durante is currently the secondaries coach and the defensive pass game coordinator for the Minnesota Vikings. Very candidly, I don't like this. It's not that I don't like the idea of Durante Jones on staff. I don't like the pairing of a 36-year-old first-time head coach and a first-time NFL defensive coordinator. I don't like that general lack of experience. There are exceptions to every rule. I think what Dan Campbell just did in Detroit is the most obvious example. You had a first-time head coach who had never been a coordinator, and he hired two young coordinators who had never been coordinators. He hired Ben Johnson on the offensive side of the ball, Aaron Glenn on the defensive side of the ball, and they crushed it. That's also an exception, not the rule. More often than not, what you see is a coach that takes control of one side of the ball. Look at the Saints. Dennis Allen called the defensive plays, but Joe Woods was the defensive coordinator. And actually, they shared roles. Chris Richard was there that first year. But anyway, because you really just needed someone who was an asset on the staff in that role. That's what I would look at offensively. But defensively, you've got to have someone that can run that side of the ball. So when you looked at Dennis Allen, he had to nail the OC hire. They retained Pete Carmichael, whiffed. Went and got Clint Kubiak. We'll never know how it would have gone had they been healthy, but it looked good early, right? But you had to have someone who could maintain that side of the ball. Look at Kellen Moore. When Kellen Moore got hired by Dallas as the offensive coordinator when he was promoted in 2019, the head coach, although Moore called plays, the head coach was an offensive-minded coach who'd been a head coach for 2 decades, who had won a Super Bowl, who'd made 11 playoff appearances, right? Like, it was like you had a really experienced guy there. So I look and I go, all right, this is your first time as a head coach. Whoever you put around you offensively just to make you comfortable, good. And not comfortable meaning like yes men, but that are going to make you at ease in the job and allow you to work freely and fluidly. Defensively, you got to nail it. And I would rather have someone that has defensive coordinator experience in the NFL. That's why someone like Brandon Staley, I think, would be a better option than Durante, because you're eliminating the variable of what it's going to look like. I mean, Durante Jones could get the job and fall flat on his face. I mean, I think back to Sean Payton's teams. When Sean Payton nailed the defensive coordinator hires, good things happened. When you had Greg Williams, you won a Super Bowl. When you brought Dennis Allen back, you got out of the 7-9 sludge and became a contender again. When you had Steve Spagnuolo, you were the worst defense in history. When you had Rob Ryan, you were atrocious, and you were a 7-9 football team. So I trust Kellen Moore as an offensive-minded guy, is going to build a staff, is going to function offensively in a way that works. But he's got to have someone that he can say at defense, where he can say, here's the defense, go make us good. And I'd feel much more comfortable if that's someone who's proven he's done it before, because you have a first-time head coach. If Mike McCarthy had gotten this head coaching job, and you're talking about a veteran head coach who's been at 2 different places and got into the playoffs and won a Super Bowl and been to another Super Bowl, and then okay. He went to 1 Super Bowl as a head coach, but I can understand him taking a chance at defensive coordinator. It's not to say that he wouldn't whiff, and it's not important, but I could understand him taking a chance because you have that much experience on staff. This is one of those where I think you've got to go really veteran on the defensive side of the ball. It's got to be someone like Brandon Staley, who's been a head coach, been a defensive coordinator, who's going to bring that amount of respect and credibility and experience into that meeting room. So Kellen Moore didn't give a time frame for filling out his staff, but they got to move quickly because you're getting toward the start of the league year next month. And you're also moving later this month toward combine and then pro days, and you're going toward the draft. So it's coming. Like the off season is in full swing, and you got to get toward building a roster. So you got to have your staff in place. But I really think, as interesting as it would be to see Durante come back to Louisiana, it's nothing against Durante. I think he did an okay job in the 1 season at LSU. He was really hamstrung for half a season, and when Ed got fired, or it was announced he wouldn't come back, they took the handcuffs off. Durante got super aggressive, and they were pretty good in the last month of the season. Not great, but they're pretty good in the last month of the season. I just don't know that this is the right timing or spot for a first-time defensive coordinator. But we'll see what decision Kellen Moore makes. Okay, y'all, it's after further review. Our Thursday shows, as always, are brought to you by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing in Baton Rouge, DecisionCriticalBR.com. Maybe your family's having a baby and you need help at home. Maybe it's end-of-life care. Maybe you're a working parent and your elderly parents are living with you now and you need help at home. That's where Decision Critical Concierge Nursing comes in. Their expertly trained nurses are the best, and they're there to serve you however you need. It's not just healthcare, it's healthcare for your lifestyle. DecisionCriticalBR.com. DecisionCriticalBR.com. All right, let me knock out our final break here of hour number 2. Musil Tigers and the Pros. Hour number 3 is straight ahead, about 15 minutes. We want to talk about LSU moving a running back to quarterback and why I actually like the idea. It's AFR.
AFR.
I also love telling you about Glow Resources because every business owner seeks productivity to maximize profits. And that all relies on your people. You have to have the right people in the right seats on the bus to maximize productivity and profitability. Like anybody that runs or operates a business understands that. So if you're a business owner, if you're an operations manager, a hiring manager, an HR manager, whatever. If you're the person who handles people in your business, you need to know Glow Resources if you don't already. Their corporate headquarters are here in Baton Rouge, but they've got offices all over the country, and they serve businesses all over the world, quite literally. And they guarantee they're going to find the right people for you. They have a 96% satisfaction rate, and if they don't, they'll find a new employee for you for free, or they'll give you a prorated refund. GLO, glowresources.com.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief. Our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
There's never been a better time to catch a John Deere deal from the crew of Sunshine. Ask us about our low monthly payment options on our tractor packages and let the good times roll. With equipment strong enough to power one of the world's largest celebrations, we've got your needs covered too. Learn more about what it means to be powered by Sunshine at sunequip.com. Some restrictions apply. See dealer for details. Offer ends March 5th, 2025.
At Atmos Energy, our Smart Choice solutions help customers save energy and emissions with rebates up to $500 off high-efficiency natural gas appliances.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. Healthcare for your lifestyle. Learn more at decisioncriticalbr.com.
Wrapping up hour number 2. Muso, Tigers in the pros.
Tigers in the pros. They still bleed purple and gold. They're just really rich now.
All right, we start with contract news here in Tigers in the pros. New Orleans Saints, just about 15 minutes or so ago, announced they have re-signed running back Clyde Edwards-Helaire for a 1-year deal.
Attaboy.
That's awesome, man. I'm fired up for that.
Me too.
Couple games at the end of the season. Clyde got some run. Now gets to come back, play in the home state again. Great to see what he can do now in Kellen Moore's offense, so shout out. More contract news. We talked about it a little earlier in the show. Alex Bregman, the sweepstakes. No. The sweepstakes is over. Signs a 3-year, $120 million, $40 million a year. How about that? Deal with the Boston Red Sox. Bregman will play second base up in Beantown. Opt-outs in 25 and 26, the first 2 years of the deal. We'll see. He's had a lot of success up there in Fenway. We'll see if that sticks or if Bregman seeks greener pastures once again. A heavy LSU night in the NBA last night and 3 really solid performances. We'll start in Houston, where Scone was yesterday.
Hey.
Tari Eason got the start.
I was there.
As he should have. 34 minutes, a team-high 25 points off of 11 of 16 shooting to go for along with 9 rebounds and 4 assists, plus 18, and the Rockets got the dub over the Suns. Tari, he looked good, yeah?
Tari looked awesome, and they also gave out Tari Eason Spider-Man bobbleheads.
That's pretty cool.
It's like a Tari Eason head with no mask on the Spider-Man body, and he's kind of doing the squat thing and like the
web
shoot thing. Yeah,
that's pretty
really
awesome.
cocool. It's in my car right
now. Nas Reed's an absolute freak.
Should have stayed.
Got a start again last night, and I had a double-double, 22 and 13. He's really good. Trenton Watford dropped 18 for the Nets. That's Tigers in the pros.
Presented by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, LMFJ.com. LMFJ.com for Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Guys, tomorrow's the day. Tomorrow's Valentine's Day. Don't screw it up. Did you just have like that feeling where your stomach goes into your throat? That's a bad feeling, right? Don't worry. We got you. Just go to Lee Michaels. They even have a tab on the website for Valentine's Day. You could set the price range, what item you want, what stone you want, what shape, like all that sort of stuff. It'll narrow it down right there for you. It's so easy. Just go to their website, lmfj.com, Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, lmfj.com, or walk into any of the 9 locations. Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Lafayette, Shreveport, and online at lmfj.com for Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Thrill her with a gift in the red box. Okay, Ross Jackson's going to jump aboard, talk about the Saints news with us in 20 minutes. When we come back, LSU moving a running back to quarterback. We'll tell you who next.
AFR.
Hey, remember, if you're in the market for a new vehicle, you got to check out South Point Volkswagen. For a lot of reasons. The parent in me, the husband in me, loves the safety features of a Volkswagen. Highest safety designation, the safest vehicles on the road. Like that, for me, is always first and foremost. I just think about every morning I bring Drew to school, I put him in his car seat, and I know I'm driving one of the safest vehicles on the road. It gives me tremendous peace of mind. If you're a parent and your children drive, imagine the peace of mind you'll have knowing they are buckling into one of the safest vehicles on the road. But they're also stylish, and they're affordable. And they got a great selection. And they're manufactured right here in the US of A at their Chattanooga, Tennessee plant. Like, why wouldn't you at least have a Volkswagen on your list? Shop them online at southpointvw.com. Southpointvw.com, spelled just like it sounds. Southpointvw.com. Louisiana's largest volume Volkswagen dealer, South Point Volkswagen.
There it is, the extra mile. On the border of expected and extraordinary. For those willing to go further. Like vans customized for work or play. With safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared towards seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, We've only got one. You. Auctioneer Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Doug Brown. The Jets make it official today. Aaron Rodgers is out after 2 years with the team. Rodgers met with team officials last week and got the news. Rodgers hasn't said if he wants to keep playing, but if he does, he likely wouldn't be able to sign with another team until at least March 13th. There are now 16 teams in the SEC. In this week's college basketball top 25, there are 9 SEC teams. And as of right now, ESPN bracketologist Joe Lunardi has 13 SEC teams in the tournament field of 68. ESPN's Jay Billis.
It's the best basketball conference top to bottom relative to the field that we have ever seen. They put up numbers that compare favorably to the mid-'80s in the ACC, but people forget the ACC had 8 teams back then. It's a lot easier to have 8 good teams than it is to have 16.
Jay Billis on Get Up on Saturday at 4 Eastern on ESPN. An SEC matchup, number 2 Alabama hosts number 1 Auburn, the third-ranked team also from the SEC.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. At Progressive, they're making things even easier. They'll help you bundle your home and car insurance together so you can save on both. Learn more at progressive.com or 1-800-PROGRESSIVE.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio.
That's right. Woo!
Hour 3, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us, AFR. Presented by Decision Critical, Concierge Nursing in Baton Rouge. I'm Matt.
This is Shaq O'Neal, and I hate Matt.
Paul O'Neal.
Chanting Paul O'Neal's name.
So. And Mr. Toby Tompley. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. 5 o'clock quitting time. Glad you're driving home with us. Kellen Moore introduced today. Ross Jackson was there. He'll be here in 13 minutes. Jimmy will be here for Otter Locks at the end of the hour. He's got some already posted, but better believe, college will have some hockey picks for us, so make sure you're here for Otter Locks in about 45 minutes from right now. So, LSU football is inching toward spring football, and they have updated the roster in advance of spring football over at LSUsports.net. And if you scroll down to the quarterbacks, there's an interesting name there. There's Garrett Nussmeier, and there's Michael Van Buren, and there's Colin Hurley, and then, oh my God, there's Juwan Johnson. That Juwan Johnson. Juwan Johnson from LCA, who played quarterback in high school, who was recruited as a cornerback, showed up on campus in fall camp was working at star, behind Major Burns over there. And then whenever John Emery tore his ACL, he moved to running back and actually made an impact as a freshman at running back. Well, now he's moving to quarterback. In like less than a calendar year of being on LSU's campus, he's already gone from being recruited as a cornerback to playing star to playing running back, now to playing quarterback. That's a lot. First of all, so I want to tell you why they're doing this, why I like that they're doing this. Some of it's necessity. Some of it I think could work. But I also want to give a hat tip to Juwan Johnson for being a team player. I mean, this is a guy who's an incredible talent who is doing anything he's being asked to do. And in this era in particular, it would be so easy to be like, you know what? Deuces. I'm going to hit the portal. I can go play defensive back somewhere exclusively where I'm going to get developed. I could go play running back somewhere exclusively where I can get developed and get reps. And I'm going to make some NIL cash. And he's just doing whatever they ask him to. And I think that's awesome. So good for him. Brian Kelly, by the way, this was Brian Kelly during the season. Remember, John Emery got hurt. And Trey Holly's legal situation still hasn't been rectified. So you had an emerging Caden Durham, which we didn't really know in September. But you had an emerging Caden Durham, Josh Williams, and then Caleb Jackson, who really didn't perform well as a sophomore. So you were paper thin at running back, and Juwan Johnson moved, and here was Brian Kelly talking about it.
First of all, he was going to play on all of our special teams, and so it was important that we got him involved on one side or the other, whether it was defense or offense. And with the way we're playing our defensive structure, he wasn't going to get a lot of playing time there. So we knew on offense there were enough roles that we could get him involved. So he's going to play with some running back, some slot receiver. He can do a lot of different things, and we can craft an offensive structure around him. And what we found out is he picks things up really well. So it was a decision that we were going to play him as a freshman. He was already involved in a lot of special teams, and he was able to pick things up really quickly.
Okay, I also want to point out that moving Juwan Johnson to quarterback, it's not like just taking an athlete who played quarterback in high school and moving him back there. We've seen that before. Look, John Trey Kirkland played quarterback in high school, and out of necessity, before the Texas Bowl against Kansas State in 2021, he played and it was atrocious in that game. Now, LSU had, like 38 scholarship players, so that was hardly fair worth judging. But we've seen this over the course of the years where guys play high school quarterback because they're the best athlete on their team. Corey Webster was a high school quarterback. Kendall Beckwith, who played linebacker at LSU, was a high school quarterback. It's just common to see this. But Juwan Johnson wasn't like just an athlete playing quarterback. He set the Louisiana State high school record for yards and touchdowns in a career. 14,451 yards, 171 touchdowns. He was Mr. Football in the state in 2023. And despite playing quarterback in high school, he was a top 10 cornerback recruit in the country. In the state championship game as a sophomore, he accounted for nearly 600 yards. In the state championship game. For his career, he threw for 10,500 yards and 117 touchdowns. That's passing. He threw for 10,000 yards and 117 touchdowns. Oh, by the way, ran for 4,000 more. So, yeah, he can play quarterback. Now, he's 5'11", 203. He doesn't have prototypical size, and it might be a better situation if he were playing quarterback in like Chip Kelly's blower offense at Oregon back in like 2010 instead of this offense in the SEC in 2024. So I'm not trying to make him into something he's not. You don't see a lot of 5'11" quarterbacks crushing it. But then again, Diego Pavia fared pretty well this year at Vanderbilt. I'm not saying there's tons of projectability to the next level. I'm saying, can you play that position at this level and be competitive? Yes, it's possible. But the reason this is happening, like there's a singular reason that this is happening. It's not because they think Juwan Johnson's going to be the next great quarterback at LSU. They need bodies because the whole thing got uprooted. The whole quarterback room got turned on its head with Bryce Underwood and then Colin Hurley's injury. So follow me here. The season ends. You're getting Nussmeier back. So at the time, you've got Nussmeier, Ricky Collins, A.J. Swan, Colin Hurley. You got 4. And you think you're getting Bryce Underwood. That's 5. You're good there. Well, we know what happens. Underwood flips to Michigan. And then Nussmeier announces he's returning. So Collins and Swan leave. So now you're down to 2. Now you've got Nussmeier and Hurley. That's it. You got to go into the portal. You do. You get Van Buren. That's 3. And now you've added Emil Picarella, who's going to be a preferred walk-on, who's a 3-star from U-High. At one point was a top 10 quarterback in the country for the class of 2025 early in his career. But in June you'd have 4. You'd have Nuss, Van Buren, Colin Hurley, and Picarella. You'd have those 4. That's enough. But you're going to go to spring ball right now, and Picarella's not here yet. He's still in high school. And Colin Hurley had his car wreck, and he's home in Jacksonville. At least that's what Brian Kelly told us a week ago, was that he was recovering at home in Jacksonville. Well, if you're at home, then you're not taking classes. And if you're not taking classes, then you're not going to participate in spring football. As of now, okay, we don't know how it all plays out. That could change. So you got 2. That's it. There's no more walk-ons. Like, get 2 right now. You know the phrase camp arm? The reason that NFL teams bring camp arms in is that so that their quarterbacks aren't throwing every single pass, every single practice, every single day. You get arm fatigue. You wear your arm out. You've got to have other guys out there that can throw the ball for you. Plus, like, you have different drills going on where you have the quarterback running the offense, but then who's throwing passes to the receivers? Who's throwing balls to the defensive backs in ball skill drills? Like, a lot of times those are the walk-ons and the scout team quarterbacks. Well, you got to have guys that can throw the football. Well, here you have a guy that's very experienced in doing that. So it's another body available for you in spring. And that's why they're doing this. Like, if Colin Hurley were healthy, if Bryce Underwood had signed with LSU, they're not moving Juwan Johnson to offense. So they're not doing it because they think they're going to nail it and find the next great quarterback that's going to win championships for you. But I would also position it this way. You know, you went and added 2 running backs in this recruiting cycle. So you've got Caden Durham, you've got Caleb Jackson coming back, and you added a 5-star in Harlan Berry, and you added Simon. So you got 4 scholarship running backs right now. And next week is when it's 6 days from now, the 19th, is when Trey Holly's next court hearing is. That could be rectified. So Holly could be back. You could be back to 5 scholarship running backs. Then what do you do with Juwan Johnson? You move back to defense? Okay, well, I told you he was working out at Star. You know who also is playing Star? Harold Perkins, who's back. And they moved Javen Toviano to safety as well. And you went and got Tamarcus Cooley out of the transfer portal. And you got Mansour Delane who can play corner or safety. Point is, like, where do you put Juwan Johnson? I don't know. And this is feeling a little like the Russell Shepard situation. And it's odd it's been this long that I have to explain it because Russell Shepard hasn't played at LSU now in 15 years. But Russell Shepard was the number 1 quarterback in the country. He shows up at LSU. They promised him he would have an opportunity to play quarterback, and it just didn't work. And from that point on, after his first year, he bounced around a ton. He played receiver. He played running back. He played all over the place, and they just never found a home for him where he just honed his skills doing that one thing and became great at it. But because he was such a phenomenal athlete, he made the NFL as a receiver and a special teamer and played darn near a decade because he was an awesome athlete. And it feels like history is repeating itself a little bit with Juwan Johnson. But what I would say to you is Juwan Johnson would be buried so far down the depth chart at running back and in the defensive backfield right now that, and you have such a need at quarterback, that I'm okay letting him go park it there at quarterback to see if he can do it at this level, if nothing else for this spring. And if, when the fall rolls around, and Picarella's on campus, and if Colin Hurley's back and healthy, which we hope is the case, and you got 4, maybe you don't need him there. And he can go do the thing, whatever the thing is that you choose that he's going to do. running back, defensive back, whatever. And he can hammer down and be a contributor for you in 2025, and then hopefully like a star caliber player for you in 2026. But we're continuing to see the residual impact of the Bryce Underwood flip. And I don't mean to keep bringing that up, but this is part of that. Because if Bryce Underwood were on campus, you're not making this move. And you thought you were set with Nuss in 25, then Underwood in 26, 27, then you would have signed Elijah Haven, and then Haven would have been 28, 29, and you were set at quarterback. You thought, anyway, you had your path, like as you had mapped it out. Well, when Underwood flipped and you didn't sign a quarterback for 2025, it has caused this staff to have to shift and evolve and move all these different parts and work to remake that room. And thank God Nussmeier came back, because it saves you, really propels you for 2025, but it also buys you time to figure out 26 and beyond. And that's critically important. And maybe Juwan Johnson's a part of it. Maybe he's just a camp arm this spring. And if he is, okay, because you need that this spring. Like, that is how he would best serve your team this spring. And maybe long-term, he's going to be a better option at quarterback than at any other position. Maybe, or maybe not. And maybe in the fall, your numbers reset, and you're good, and he can go back and play defensive back or running back or whatever it's going to be, and I hope he has an awesome career. But I get why they're doing it, and it's the right thing to do right now, because it's going to help make you better in the spring. And also, just a major salute to a really talented dude who, in an era of me, is raising his hand saying, Coach, what do you need me to do? I'll do whatever you need me to do. You need me to play quarterback in the spring? Cool. You need me to switch to running back in September? Got it. I played quarterback but signed as a cornerback. You want me to play star? Let's do it. You want me to be on every special teams unit? I'm in. I love that. Every team, every great team needs dudes like that, and Juwan Johnson showing you over and over again he's willing to do it, and I salute him for it. Awesome dude, great team dude, great athlete. Hope he maximizes wherever it is on the field, but it'll be quarterback in the spring. All right, it's after further review. Quick break. We'll talk to Ross Jackson next.
AFR.
Y'all get on by Clegg's Nursery. Hey, gents, I got an idea for Valentine's Day. How about instead of going to a florist and spending money on roses that are going to die in a few days or weeks, how about you go to Clegg's Nursery and buy rose bushes that you can plant in your garden that she and your entire family can enjoy for years? Go to Clegg's Nursery. Any of the 4 locations in the greater Baton Rouge area, they've got bountiful selection of rose bushes and all different types of bushes and trees and shrubs and plants and flowers. Maybe you want to add that pop of color to your patio pots, to your flower bed. Maybe you want to plant that vegetable garden. Now is the time to get those seeds in the ground. And at Clegg's Nursery, they've got Johnny Naylor seeds. They're the best, y'all. I mean, they've been around for 60. You don't hang around for 60 years if you ain't doing everything right. So buy local, shop local, and tell them Matt sent you to Clegg's Nursery.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
There's never been a better time to catch a John Deere deal from the crew of Sunshine. Ask us about our low monthly payment options on our tractor packages and let the good times roll. With equipment strong enough to power one of the world's largest celebrations, we've got your needs covered too. Learn more about what it means to be powered by Sunshine at sunequip.com. Some restrictions apply. See dealer for details. Offer ends March 5th, 2025.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
When you can't rely on technology, you can rely on Mountain Cool.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. Healthcare for your lifestyle. Learn more at decisioncriticalbr.com.
First, I just want to thank everyone for coming for this awesome opportunity. This is the start of an incredible place. This place truly is a special place for my family, for the opportunities we've had the last couple of weeks to win a Super Bowl in the Caesars Superdome and to now become the head football coach of the New Orleans Saints. This is such an incredible place, and we can't wait to make it home, and we truly feel honored.
Saints coach Kellen Moore introduced on Thursday. Ross Jackson from LouisianaSports.net and Locked On Saints was there. He's here now. How are you, man?
Hey, dude, doing great. Thanks for having me on.
Always our pleasure. Reaction, you were in the room. What's your biggest takeaway from Kellen Moore's introductory press conference?
Yeah, I think a couple of big ones, but just focusing on Kellen Moore and kind of what the future is, it's clear that he's got a very clear vision of what he wants his team to be, which isn't surprising, right? He's got a lot of experience. He's been around a bunch of different places, found success with a lot of different offenses and all these other things. So not super surprising to see that he would have a very clear vision of what it is, but I found in moments he was willing to actually articulate that. He talked about some of the qualities that he liked, and that he wanted to see from his team: fast, smart, physical, pretty typical in terms of what you would hear from a first time or from a head coach. But I liked him talking about like using tempo and utilizing motion when they do huddle and all these other things. Those are all quintessential pieces of the modern day era of offensive football in the NFL. He also talks about exploring a bunch of different versions of offense or defense. But I think the biggest thing that we walked away from was sort of this non-committal nature that he approached the future at quarterback. And so I thought those are a couple of the key kind of big takeaways from this one.
So walk me through the process here, Ross. It's a giant question with Derek Carr and what they do, but what is that process like, and what is the timeline in which they got to make a decision?
Yeah, so your timeline is basically before March 14th right now, and you can make a decision at any time before that. But on that March 14th date, that's when the remainder of Derek Carr's base salary becomes guaranteed, effectively guarantees his entire salary base salary for this year, kind of locking him in on this big $51 million cap hit. So if you want to keep Derek Carr around, you're okay with that, because then you can restructure that ahead of time and push some of that money down the road and all those other things. But if you're not going to be moving forward with Derek Carr, you definitely don't want all of that money to become guaranteed for this season. So if the Saints are going to make any kind of decision, they'll need to make it within the next month, effectively, in order to make sure that they avoid that. So they can designate him as a post-June 1 cut so they can save that money come June 2nd. Won't help them in terms of salary cap compliance at the beginning of the new league year, March 12th, but it helps them later on down the road. They can make some other moves to get compliant with the salary cap. Outside of that, they could also pursue a trade where the money just follows him wherever he goes, but he's got a no-trade clause, so they need to make sure that they send him to a situation that he would want to be a part of.
And who's going to trade for the player and the contract? It's hard to imagine. Do you agree? I mean, it's hard to imagine finding a suitor there.
I agree to an extent, but I also know how desperate NFL teams are about the quarterback position. And I think, I think we see it all the time with drafting guys in the first round that have no business being drafted in the first round. We see things like people handing Aaron Rodgers hundreds of millions of dollars to go out there and not do anything for all of 2024. I mean, like we see this kind of stuff. And so, I've made the claim before, and I'll make it again. The New York Jets, for instance, who pursued Derek Carr at the same time that the Saints pursued Derek Carr, would have been better off last year with Derek Carr than they were with Aaron Rodgers. And so if that's a team that now is in a better place, playmaker-wise, offensive weapon-wise, defensive-wise, all those other pieces, than they were back in 2023 when they were pursuing Derek Carr, if that's a team that's interested in Carr now that they've parted ways with Aaron Rodgers, it's not like they're going to bring Sam Darnold back to town. And so all of a sudden that's a team that becomes of interest, and I'm sure would be of interest to Derek Carr as they showed desire in him when he was in that free agency market a couple of years ago. You got
the new Jets GM's phone number. I'll call him if you want. You want to call him?
We can see. Yeah, we'll call him again. I'll throw him on through right here.
I'll make that.
Throw it back to the 90s.
We'll get that ball rolling a little bit right now. Get that thing moving. He's on Twitter at Ross.
Just get Woody Johnson on the phone. Just go straight to the owner.
Why not? He's on Twitter at Ross Jackson Nola, the Locked On Saints podcast, doing a great job covering the Saints for us at LouisianaSports.net. We also heard Kellen Moore talk staff today, which is significant. And Ross, it's just been like a fire hose of news. Guys coming back to the Saints staff, leaving the Saints staff, names of interest who could be joining the Saints staff. Maybe hit the high points here. Someone's driving home right now. Like, what do they need to know?
Yeah, I think the one of the big names that has been retained is Keith Williams, the wide receivers coach. That's a great move by Kellen Moore and the New Orleans Saints. That's one that kind of shows a little bit of that player forward thinking. The players love Keith Williams. You keep Keith Williams around as a new head coach. You get some brownie points with your players. I think that's a wise move. Also, Keith Williams, really good at his job, so you definitely want to keep him around. Anyway, the big positions that you're looking for this team to still fill, offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, arguably defensive coordinator being the more important of the two because Kellen Moore, as he confirmed today, is going to call his own offense. So when it comes to defensive coordinator, the two names that we know so far are either connected or are at least in the running. Durante Jones, a familiar name here in Louisiana, who, of course, was the defensive coordinator for the LSU Tigers back in 2021. That defense got a little bit stronger once, Edo kind of turned things over to Durante Jones later on in the season. Yep. He's been with the Minnesota Vikings since then, coaching the defensive backs as well as the defensive passing game coordinator over there. And he coaches, has coached at least a 3-4 system. So something to keep in mind there. Brandon Staley is the other name, former Los Angeles Chargers head coach that hired Kellen Moore as his offensive coordinator. Kellen Moore now has the opportunity to return the favor, also coaches a 3-4 scheme. So we'll see what that means for the Saints who, I talked about the kind of modernity of the references that Kellen Moore was making about his offense. You could see that happen with the New Orleans Saints defense as well, which was criticized for being a little antiquated last season, especially with dealing with mobile quarterbacks, that 3-4 system with the stand-up edge rushers, speed, all these other things that kind of could help them there. So those are two names to watch out for. There will be more in that search. And then offensive coordinator is the other one that's going to be more about installing the offense, communicating the offense, being Kellen Moore's extra hands and eyes when he's got to be doing head coach stuff, elsewhere. And so something to keep in mind with those coordinator hires, it is going to be a full process. It's not a situation where you just hire the guy that you want. You are required to satisfy the Rooney Rule, just like with head coach, just like with general manager. So expect the search, expect multiple interviews, all those other things.
A couple more things for you. The Saints also issued a release. Clyde Edwards-Helaire has been re-signed on a 1-year deal. How, why, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, what a cool story, right? I mean, this is a guy that's been through a lot. And when he arrived here in New Orleans at the end of last season, he spoke exclusively with LouisianaSports.net, me, after the game. After the game where he kind of got his debut, right? He had 2 games that he was able to participate in at the end of the season. And he talked about how it was a dream come true, that he got the opportunity to play in the Caesars Superdome with his name strewn across the Saints uniform and how cool that was. Now he gets the opportunity of being brought back on a 1-year deal, which doesn't guarantee anything, but definitely gives him the opportunity to take that dream and extend it for another year, potentially. And his versatility, his ability as a receiver out of the backfield, his willingness to be a pass blocker, which I think is maybe one of the most underrated things about him, especially at 5'7". People don't talk enough about his willingness to do that and effectiveness in it. I think he's got a shot, and we'll see how much the Saints continue to invest in that position. Obviously, it's going to be very important looking at Kellen Moore's success with Saquon Barkley in Philly, Ezekiel Elliott in Dallas. He wants those running backs to be a big part of the game. And so if you're able to have a guy like Alvin Kamara, a guy like, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and then potentially reinvest in the position in the draft or free agency, I think that puts you in a really good spot. And so overall, fantastic story, awesome story to see the Baton Rouge guy back here in New Orleans, at least through camp, potentially for another year. But you can see sort of the fixins, if you will, of how that could turn into a really good addition to this roster in 2025.
Last thing for you, what veteran players are you anticipating, or should people start to prepare themselves for not returning to the Saints in 2025? Or do we have a sense of that yet?
Yeah, I think there's a couple players we have a sense of that on. One of the big names right now to watch is going to be Taysom Hill. Every conversation that happens with Taysom Hill nationally is typically bookended or ended rather with the conversation or with the comment about how it's hard to imagine Taysom Hill being back in New Orleans in 2025.
Right.
There's enough of that smoke to wonder, or at least ask why when it comes to the potential fire of that conversation. So that's definitely one to watch out for. He had that ACL tear, which may have included additional damage. The surgery went well by all accounts from Darren Rizzi last year. But still, on an ACL tear in December on a 9 to 12-month return timeline, what's your real opportunity there with a guy? Even though, Kellen Moore did praise Taysom Hill and mention like how great it would be to have him on the field. Will he actually be on the field? So he's one to watch out for. And then, one of the other big names is going to be Cam Jordan to continue to follow. If Cam Jordan's not on the roster, it's going to be because the Saints make that decision. Cam wants to finish his career here. He wants to be back. So I'm sure that the Saints will start that conversation probably with reworking his deal, a potential pay reduction there in terms of his salary going into 2025, which would make sense, understanding his percentage of usage as well as previous production over the course of the past couple of years. But then if those conversations don't yield what the Saints are looking for, then I could see a world in which a parting of ways happens. Ideally, that's not the case. You'd love to see guys start and finish their career with the same team. His father did it in Minnesota. You'd like to see him do it as well, but certainly a name to watch.
Ross Jackson, who, by the way, got a little bit of a hat tip from Kellen Moore at the very beginning of the press conference. Give a listen to this.
Recognize a few of you from the last couple of weeks.
How much FaceTime did you have with Kellen Moore during the Super Bowl, where you just stared at him for 40 straight minutes?
Yeah, I totaled up all of the video and audio footage. Sometimes I had video and audio, other times I had only audio. But overall, I totaled up 126 minutes.
Okay.
So that's a lot for a 3-day period. It's probably more than I've seen. It's probably more than I've seen my own family that entire week. And so, yeah, that was a nice little shout out from Kellen.
Literally just 2 straight hours, or not straight, but 2 hours of just looking at Ross Jackson over the course of 3 days. Yes.
Worst ways to spend your time for 2 hours.
Yes. Well, it worked now because you're well acquainted with the new head coach of the New Orleans Saints. He's Ross Jackson. Y'all listen to the Locked On Saints podcast and read him over at LouisianaSports.net. Thanks, man.
Thank you, bud. Take care. Stay safe. Talk to you soon.
Be well. We're brought to you by Supper Club. Checked in with Chef Layton. They were booked solid the whole weekend. So we kind of been saying, hey, look, if you want to try to get in Thursday or Saturday around Valentine's, they're booked solid the whole weekend. But you can try later. SupperClubBTR.com to get your reservations. SupperClubBTR.com. Oh, my goodness. You're just going to have an incredible experience when you go. The food, the ambiance, all of it. It really is unmatched. If you haven't been, what are you waiting for, man? It's been a couple of years now since Supper Club opened their doors, and it's funny for me, or fun. I shouldn't say funny. Fun for me still to have people say, "Man, when they opened, I thought it was a club and you had to be a member to get in. It's not. It's open to the public." Or say, "I thought it was impossible to get in," or "I thought there was just no way I could afford to eat there." And it's just the reality is, you can go to Supper Club and have an amazing experience for the same amount that you'd spend at any other fine dining restaurant. they also have on top of that amazing one-of-a-kind type experiences as well at Supper Club. But whether you're going to get Chilean sea bass or the Japanese omi beef that's from this farm in Japan that they used to feed that stuff to the samurai because they thought it had magical powers and it's the preferred steak of the emperor of Japan. Like, you could do either. But either way, you're going to have an amazing experience. It's Supper Club. SupperClubBTR.com. Book your reservations, y'all. Next time you're going out to dinner, significant other's family, just a night out, SupperClubBTR.com. Get your reservations today. Okay, thanks to Ross. Thanks to Kendall Rogers last hour. Brock Matherne was here in hour one. He's the head coach at East Ascension. His star offensive lineman, Brysten Martinez, committed to LSU on Thursday. So we had a lot of good stuff. If you miss anything, AFR On Demand, presented by Breck Golf. Book your tee time at golf.breck.org. Okay, Otter Locks in a little more than 10 minutes. Let me do a quick recap of the Brysten Martinez commit when we come back on a Thursday edition of AFR, presented by Decision Critical, Concierge Nursing in Baton Rouge.
AFR.
Well, we went and got cold again, didn't we? Woke up this morning in Houston. It was like 49 degrees. It never fails. Just wait around in Louisiana. The weather's good. What's the old adage? If you don't like the weather in Louisiana, wait 10 minutes. Whether you need help with your AC or your heater, any issues with your HVAC system, our friends at River City's 1 Hour Air can help, and they're going to do awesome. Destiny Antoine sent this 5-star Google review. Michael, the technician, and his team did a wonderful job. And thanks to David Twilbeck for checking to make sure everything was operating properly. You see, at River City's 1 Hour Air, their customer service is always above and beyond. They've got this thing down to, like, it functions like a machine. I tell you all the time that when a technician's on the way, that you'll get a call, a text, and an email alerting you the technician's on the way with name, photo, and reviews of that technician. The follow-up is always incredible. When they sit down with you, giving you the good, better, and best options. They're just unmatched. It's River City's 1 Hour Air.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
There's never been a better time to catch a John Deere deal from the crew of Sunshine. Ask us about our low monthly payment options on our tractor packages and let the good times roll. With equipment strong enough to power one of the world's largest celebrations, we've got your needs covered too. Learn more about what it means to be powered by Sunshine.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. Healthcare for your lifestyle. Learn more at decisioncriticalbr.com.
Jimmy will be here for Otter Locks in less than 10 minutes. Got to move a little quickly. My apologies for that. I kind of went long in the first segment this hour talking about Juwan Johnson moving from running back to quarterback at LSU. You can get that on demand if you missed it. But good news for Brian Kelly's squad. On Thursday morning is Brysten Martinez committed to LSU. If you're not familiar, Brysten Martinez is a big offensive tackle out of East Ascension. We've talked quite a bit over the months now, really as they were finishing the 2025 class and moving on to 2026. We've talked about this 2026 class, which is a bumper crop in the state, and it is so significant for LSU to get the best players in the state to stay home because you can see how this maps. We think about the 2001 class that we talk about all the time. That was the cornerstone of the 03 championship. Michael Clayton, Marcus Spears, the late Marquise Hill, Andrew Whitworth. I mean, great players from Louisiana, and they stayed home, and they won a championship. You could go to the most recent title in 2019 when you talk about guys like Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase and Patrick Queen and Clyde Edwards-Helaire, guys from Louisiana, from Greater Baton Rouge, New Orleans area that were cornerstones of the championship team. Derek Stingley, Christian Fulton, dudes from around here that stayed here. When you have a year like that, you got to get the best players to stay home. And 2026 is one of those years. Remember, Jakeem Stewart was supposed to be part of the 2026 class. He reclassified. He's now at USC. But look at these names. Look at the top prospects in Louisiana for 2026. Lamar Brown, the number 11 overall player in the country, the number 1 offensive lineman. Blaine Bradford, the number 16 overall player in the country, the number 1 safety. Richard Anderson, the number 40 overall prospect in the country, the number 2 defensive tackle. Aiden Hall, the number 42 overall player in the country, the number 5 safety. And then there's Brysten Martinez, number 59 nationally, number 8 at his position. Jabari Mack, number 83 nationally, number 15 at wide receiver in the country. That's 6 dudes from the state that are all in the top 83 nationally. And now you've got Richard Anderson, Aiden Hall, and Brysten Martinez, 3 of the 6 committed. And the other 3, Lamar Brown, Blaine Bradford, Jabari Mack, all heavily thought to be leans toward LSU and will land at LSU. So I know there's the cynic and the skeptic, and some of you have said this on the text line today. I don't care about commitments anymore. They don't mean anything. I'll be interested whenever they actually sign, and I get it. But if I were to present to you 2 options, would you rather have the commitment from the kid from East Ascension 10 months before signing day and have him as a part of your class and a guy that can be a Pied Piper and recruit for you and help recruit some of the other local guys wearing that badge as an LSU commit? Or would you rather not have it? I would rather have it. I would rather have him committed than not committed, by the way. So, yes, there's always the possibility that in the 11th hour, a desperate team can swoop in, dump a pile of cash on him, and get him to sign somewhere else. Yes, that happened with the kid. I'm blanking on his name. The lineman from Calvary Baptist, who was part of LSU's class, and then Lane Kiffin at Ole Miss swooped in late, dumped a bag of cash on him, and he left. Okay. By the way, LSU did the same thing with Solomon Thomas, who was committed to Florida State. His position coach, who's now at LSU, Alex Atkins, got fired. He was thinking about it. LSU stayed on him. Boom. Signing day, they flipped it. That streak goes both ways. But I would always rather have the guy, especially Louisiana kid, committed than not committed. So Brysten Martinez commits. By the way, we had his coach, Brock Matherne, on with us in hour 1. I loved this soundbite from Brock Matherne about the really exciting part about Brysten.
He's so raw that I tell people this all the time is he's not even close to reaching his peak. You know, and that's the great thing about him as a kid is he's the ultimate competitor and wants to be the best.
6'5", 290, offensive tackle, can play inside or out. Already the number 59 player in the country, and there's his head coach saying he's still so raw. Like he's going to keep getting better. He's already got the build, the size, the physical skill set. Now keep developing him. You got the right ones, Brad Davis, and now Alex Atkins on staff as well. So Brysten Martinez commits to LSU, becoming the 6th commit now for the class of 2026. And they keep just checking off those top in-state guys. You got to close on Lamar Brown. You got to close on Blaine Bradford. You got to close on Jabari Mack. But you're well on your way. Okay, y'all, we're brought to you by Parish Restoration, parishbuilt.com, parishbuilt.com. Remember, kill mold, remove odor, sanitization services as well. How many people you hear coughing, sneezing around the office, flu going around? Like everybody's got that thing right now where they're throwing up, going out both ends. Like everybody, that's going around right now. You want to sanitize your office? Call Parish Restoration. Your office, your church, school, whatever. They'll come in. They'll spray the patented non-toxic dry fog. Totally safe for plants and pets and people. Totally safe. Like they'll come in, they'll spray, fog will dwell. As soon as it dissipates, boom, you're back in free, clear, sanitized. Awesome. And if you have odor, they'll knock that out. They've sanitized. Look, they can sanitize your car. If your car stinks, maybe you bought a car used and a smoker had that car and you want to get that odor out of it, you can. They have the Sprinter vans with the hoses. Like they'll come to your office, they'll spray your vehicle while you're working, and then when you're done with the day working, the fog's dissipated, boom, you're back in, your car smells awesome. Parish Restoration. Check them out, parishbuilt.com. So anyway, from your vehicle to residential to the largest commercial buildings in the state, parishbuilt.com, hit the restoration tab. Parish Restoration, parishbuilt.com. Okay, y'all, been an awesome show today, man. We moved quickly and glad to have you hanging out with us. Remember, tomorrow, opening day for LSU baseball, and a little bit of a schedule change. So we're on an extra hour tomorrow. Hunt will be live at Alec Box Stadium from noon to 2. First pitch at 2 o'clock. So then we'll start at 2. So we'll go an extra hour. So we'll go 2 to 6 tomorrow. Terrio will be here from 2 to 4, the first 2 hours of the show. Then he's going to go watch his girls play in a high school soccer playoff game. So, but a little bit of a schedule shift, but we'll be here, and we're looking forward to it. We'll see you on Friday. But one thing left to do. We'll knock out a final break. Come back. Jimmy will be here for Otter Locks. It's AFR, presented by Decision Critical, Concierge Nursing in Baton Rouge.
After further review.
Hey, check out Action Industries. Of course, baseball season turns tomorrow, all season long. All the mound visits brought to you by Action Industries. So when you're listening to the games or you're at the box, leave them in, take them out. Whoop, woo. Those mound visits presented by Action Industries. They love being a great partner of LSU Athletics, supporting the local teams because they're local and they've been local since 1982. Action Industries has been around servicing the petrochemical refinery markets. Listen, any type of work you need done inside the fence, they got you covered. And they know their sweet spot. Like, their sweet spot is that 100-person job. If you have these mega projects, that's not them. They can help supplement, by the way, your mega projects. But if you hire a mega contractor to do that 100-person job and you feel like, I don't know that I'm really their priority, with Action Industries, you're their number one priority. That's the difference. They know what they are and what they aren't. It's Action Industries. Learn more online. ActionIndinc.com. Action Industries.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. Healthcare for your lifestyle. Learn more at decisioncriticalbr.com.
Down the stretch, we come final segment here on this Thursday edition of AFR. Always appreciate our friends, Blazer Rivette and the whole crew at Decision Critical Concierge Nursing in Baton Rouge. It's not just healthcare. It's healthcare for your lifestyle, from end-of-life care to bringing home a new baby, or maybe you're caring for an elderly parent. Maybe you need post-operative care in-home. The nurses at Decision Critical can help. Look them up online at decisioncriticalbr.com. Okay, let's find out what we're betting on tonight. Time for Autolocks.
Autolocks.
All right, time to win some money.
Presented by Lofton Staffing Services. At Lofton, we put people to work. Call us today at 924-0200 or go to lofton.jobs.
I think it's safe to say that I won the bet.
Otter, how are you?
Good, Matt. How about you?
I'm doing awesome. Newsy day. Saints got a new coach. The owner called him a woman's name. Good stuff today. Did you?
What did Miss Kale call?
Wait, hit it, Muse. Hit it.
Ellen Moore.
She called him Ellen Moore. She left the K off. She called him Ellen Moore.
Charlie gets mad at me when I get I'm down on the Saints, but I mean,
they deserve it, dog. I love it.
Oh,
I love
God.
it. I mean, they're part of the fabric of my being. But I mean, when you a laughing stock, you a laughing stock, and they laugh. I mean, the owner's calling him Ellen Moore. The introductory press conference calling him Ellen.
Ellen Moore.
Bro. Anyway.
Charlie gets mad at me. He wants to get excited when the new coach is hired.
What do you tell him you're pushing Napier?
Yeah. They oh well, man. I wonder if Kellen Moore should have taken a job or not. I mean, you don't think that he might be in line for a good job next year, for a better job next year?
Probably. I think he would have been in the same situation as Ben Johnson, or Joe Brady.
I wouldn't give him quite as much credit. That's just me personally, but I think he would be maybe not quite that strong, but better than this.
I'm not saying would be as good, Jimmy. I'm just saying if you're looking at the potential candidates, like he would be at the top of the list next year.
He would be certainly higher than ninth. Yeah. So where this was a ninth job. I mean, it's that's pretty clear. So anyway, I did win the raffle at the VIP party at Beau Rivage on Sunday.
Babe, what you won?
An autographed Derek Carr jersey. I'm not kidding you. I'm serious. Boy, it's a light night in college hoops. So let's go to Nebraska, and we'll talk to Maryland Terrapins.
Man, what?
I swear I went nuts. We had fun with it.
Is it framed?
Anyway. No. I wore it. I wore it to the blackjack table and the rest of the party and. So it's. I'm just hoping that he stays. Charles, I think he's going to go. For obvious reasons. But anyway, I want to see the my investment, my new piece of memorabilia appreciate in value. So I need Derek Carr to go on a roll this year. So
best of luck.
Not likely, huh?
Yeah, no.
Yeah. So
all right. What we
anyway. All right, Maryland is going to Nebraska tonight. Lone Big Ten game. Just going with a stronger team here. Nebraska with a nice win against Ohio State on Sunday and Super Bowl Sunday. And they can be tough at home. Maryland is clearly the more talented team here, and they're good. They're in the tournament with room to spare. So catching points here on the road, the Maryland Terrapins plus 1.5. Also gave out one of Kenny White's picks. Tonight you got 2 top 10 matchups in women's college basketball tonight. And so I'll pass along his. One of them, both of them are getting points at home. One of them in the SEC, Kentucky, getting 10.5 points at home. Of course, Texas coming off that upset win against South Carolina women on over the weekend. So plus 10.5 with Kentucky. And we've got an add-on to the picks on the
1 minute
website.
remaining.
And that's Cal Irvine. Cal Irvine coming up with a loss.
That's women's?
This is men.
Men, okay.
Cal Irvine coming up a loss against UC San Diego. They split this year, but both teams are head and shoulders above everybody else in the Big West. We're looking for them to bounce back tonight, minus 8.5 at home. And then Saturday line is already out for Auburn, Alabama. I'll give you one to take the home team minus the 1.5, Alabama.
Okay. Alabama at home against Auburn. All right, so Maryland catching a point and a hook. Cal Irvine laying 8.5. And on the hardwood on the women's side, Kentucky. It's down to 9.5, by the way. Right now. But Kentucky getting a whole bunch of points. Rufino's tomorrow?
Rufino's early time, 10 a.m. to noon to make time for the LSU baseball game.
All right, Otto. We appreciate it. Have a great night. Good luck.
Good luck.
All right. Muse, Paulie, thanks. Y'all have an awesome night. We'll see you tomorrow at 3.
After further review.
Get on down the road. Remind you about Shawbills Tire and Auto Service. ShawbillsTire.com. ShawbillsTire.com. With locations all over South Louisiana. Started in Morgan City, moved up to Baton Rouge. Now they're all over Greater Baton Rouge, man. We're talking Ascension, Livingston. That's right, Denham. You've got your own Shawbills. West Baton Rouge. They're flat everywhere. If you need tires, you want the best tires on the road at the cheapest price possible, you go to Shawbills. Did I mention they've gone toward Acadiana as well? They're in the whole greater Lafayette area. Check them out at Shawbills. Go to ShawbillsTire.com, ShawbillsTire.com. Hit the promotions tab at the top of the page. It's easy. You can see all of the specials they have going on right now to buy name brand tires at wholesale prices. And the thing that I mention all the time is the Shawbills credit card. Ask about the Shawbills credit card. It's gets you VIP pricing. It's basically a credit card for your vehicle. You can buy now and 6 months interest free. Shawbills, we keep you rolling.
There's never been a better time to catch a John Deere deal from the crew of Sunshine. Ask us about our low monthly payment options on our tractor packages and let the good times roll. With equipment strong enough to power one of the world's largest celebrations, we've got your needs covered too. Learn more about what it means to be powered by Sunshine at sunequip.com. Some restrictions apply. See dealer for details. Offer ends March 5th, 2025.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief: our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect